Just getting initial jobless claims data coming in week over week to the upside right now. 223,000 versus 217,000 on the last print coming through from last week. So forecasts we're looking for 220,000. Again, week over week, 223,000, the actual number. Continuing claims to the upside as well. 1.89 million versus 1.86 million expected there for continuing claims and initial jobless claims. Just getting retail sales data as well. On the Canadian side of things, if you extract autos from that number, 0.7 to the downside versus a negative 0.1 print. We're still waiting on the overall number to come through there. A few energy data points to come later on, 10:30 and 11 o'clock this morning with the shortened week. So we'll see how those come through as we get going on what should be an interesting Thursday here. Already Thursday. If you're just waking up, possibly, you've missed a lot so far this week. We've had a bit of a reversal late in the day yesterday. Market came back in heading into the close. We get a gap to the downside this morning. Not a huge one, but 0.38 here as we mull over a few more earnings-related names this morning. AAPL to the downside in a pretty big way. Forecast an absolute mess for them. GE Aerospace, another one. We'll touch on both of those coming up. Tesla back in the headlines as they, let's face it, always are. Elon being Elon once again. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Bitcoin looking to defend that $100,000 area as well. Keep an eye on that. As Brendo mentioned, Apple and Google in focus as they're raising the ire of the Competition Markets Authority out in England. So we'll keep an eye on them. Both green to start the day, though. Tesla getting a bit of an interesting comment from Oppenheimer, who downgraded the stock, basically not really too thrilled with what they've got in the pipeline for 2025. And then EA Sports, Brendo, ouch, 17% and still going, breaking that $120 area. A bit of a bad look for them. A couple of mainstay names that are not doing as well. FIFA now being called EAFC, as well as another one. A bit of a move down here if you look at the graph.
Yeah, they're not in the game today.
They're not.
Definitely not in the game today. Here's Bitcoin, as you were mentioning, back towards 100,000 right now. We're hovering around 102. But a couple of days on the red side of things now for BTC. The related equities kind of looking the same here, a little bit on the negative side of things. The market overall ticking back higher, even with that jobless claims data this morning. So we'll keep an eye on how things are shaping up here as we get going. But I mean, there's a lot of question marks, I think, around what has happened this week on the tech side of things. NVIDIA downside this morning as well. Continuing that move we saw late in the day, it was one of the ones that led the overall market lower going into the close. Gap downside here to the tune of 1.6% for NVIDIA. So volatility definitely picking up with semiconductors.
Yeah, and interesting, one of their main suppliers for high bandwidth memory out in Korea reported, SK Hynix, an amazing report. However, they're down on the Kospi. How come? The guide, a little bit light. They're not really sure if they're going to have as much demand for their HBM going to 2025, which is interesting because now we're hearing that there's going to be huge demand for NVIDIA chips with the Stargate program. It stands to reason that the memory moves along with that, not so.
We'll keep an eye on semis. Meanwhile, Netflix with more positivity here. Another round of upgrades for NFLX. It sold off, faded that huge earnings move after the close going back 2 days ago. We are higher here to the, I mean, it's 0.2%, but 950 looking like a bit of a support area here, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. And I feel like there's the earnings names today just all are pun related, like GE Aerospace to the moon. Right, AAL crash landing, and then I mean, Brennan already did the EA Sports. It's not in the game,
right?
I don't know. So like and what's crazy is it takes away from
those are good ones.
It takes away from most of the earnings. I'm not talking about GE because GE did fantastically, and then you have a little bit of a pullback in the chips. It takes away from how big a day yesterday was. Like more record highs, the Nasdaq going absolutely crazy. But the other thing, and actually Brendan mentioned this morning. I know something was talked about last week. That Vanguard VOO is very, very close to taking over the SPY. It hasn't yet, but so it was 32 years of dominance for the SPY.
Yeah,
that's going to be a weird. That's going to be a weird thing, I think, for anyone who's been around like a long time or traded a long time to get used to a new generation of people maybe paying more attention to. So not that it matters. I mean, SPY, it's just such an iconic symbol. But 32 years, it has been that long.
Yeah, no, we were talking about it, yeah, like you mentioned there a couple of weeks ago. It is just, the SPY is so dominant in options trading and all that kind of stuff that it's not going anywhere for that respect. But yeah, I think the better fee structure and whatnot on the Vanguard product there, a little bit better. Apple today, you know, maybe if this is harbinger of hopefully things to come for this company, as they had pretty much a huge outperformance of the market heading into the end of the year. And then since we've sort of come right back in V-shaped recovery. But yeah, no, nice move here for Apple today. I mean, I really, really like the long in this name, and we had a huge move up there. Not a huge move up, but we did break that pre-market high on the jobless claims. And then all of a sudden, Apple not really pulling back that far as the market has. So I like it. We'll see if Apple can hold strength. And the boys talking about everything. You just mentioned some of the earnings calls. We have Tesla as well today, hovering in and around. I mean, that 420 seems to be, I don't know if it's some kind of a marker here or not, but like we were holding it, then we broke it, then it was the top, then we kind of wicked up there. We had to move up yesterday into 418. Now you're a little, I mean, what are we doing? We're a little up today. Okay, so another green name despite what the NASDAQ is doing. We had record highs yesterday for Amazon, which isn't really pulling back at all. Did it get to 238 though, or was that a dream yesterday? What was that? No, 235. Okay, so yeah, 235, 236 yesterday. So we pushed that right there at the close with a huge huge move to the upside. Looks like it might have even been a sell imbalance, and they still rip that. So, yeah, look, I like a lot of names here today, big tech names. But I wrote down AAL, as you had mentioned there. It's on my radar today.
Yeah, it's AAL and EA.
These airlines were just so hot. And then for one to come in so cold, we'll have to wait to see what happens. A friend of mine, Gia, was at the batting cages last night and she does once a week work for baseball indoors. And the girl that she trains with, their family lost their furnace. Their heat went out the night before. Yeah. And their house got to like -3 or 4 or something like that.
You know what's weird about that?
And yeah.
That happened.
Go to a hotel room.
The coldest day. That happened to my sister-in-law. As well, their furnace went out.
Just hope it happens early enough that you can A, get somebody there, or B, get to a hotel for the night. Exactly. Get someone to come in the next day. But you got it working last night.
Or get like my in-laws actually went to my sister-in-law and got space and just took the space heater. Yeah. So
it's not the end of the
that's
world.
the other thing. But it's obviously it's first world problems here in Canada because we don't get natural disasters. But man, that was noticeable today. It was only like 10 degrees under, like -10 today. And like walking outside
much
from the train, I was like, oh man, I should take off. It felt so much better. But I'm done with the winter, man. Like I like the winter because you get like some winter sports, tobogganing, all that good stuff. But I could do without the ridiculously chilling.
The thing is, Marissa said this to me yesterday too. It's like winter brings out different. Like the weather, different tastes, and like I never ever. Do you ever have hot chocolate? Like outside of winter months. No, like
I can't say never because my daughter likes to have it at all times. So every now and then I'll have it just because she's weird. I mean,
we were just talking
kids
about
are like
it.
that.
It's like
she just likes the marshmallows, man. So that's
She
knows if she asks for hot chocolate, she's gonna get marshmallows. So most of the time, I think she just wants the marshmallows.
I was just like, I don't know, is that a pistachio latte or whatever from Starbucks? Too sweet. But I was like, I would never have this in the summertime. I don't know, it's just weird. Anyways.
I love pistachio.
Okay, let's go back over to the desk. It's 8:40, lots to talk about.
Tons.
50 short BTC.
Okay. Here's that graphic that you guys were just talking about here, just highlighting these market ETFs. So there it is, 635 versus 621. So very, very close here as far as VOO, about to maybe, anyways, take over number one spot there. That's crazy, though. 32 years the SPY has been in control. I don't think anyone's going to change. That's way too long of a time frame for people to get away from those types of habits, I think, and start looking at something else just because it's a little bit bigger.
Absolutely.
But yeah, really, really crazy fact for that. Netflix it did pop up there a little bit, 9:55. There was a couple of analyst notes on this morning, mostly to the positive side. I mean, I feel like this needs a couple of days.
Oh, God, yeah. I put it again on the upgrades and downgrades list. I'm sure Adara will get to that shortly. A nice comment today from Wolf Research, raising it to outperform from peer perform, boosting the price target as well. I think Wolf Research also upgraded them. We'll keep an eye on this one. This one was a huge mover yesterday. Look at that move in the aftermarket from 870 all the way up into about 1,050. But we gave back a lot of that move yesterday. We dropped below 1,000. We're below 900 right now, Brent. Well, sorry. We're about 955 right now. We'll look to see how this one trades today. It's already up marginally on the day, up 0.18.
There was a couple of people mentioning this one. ASTS, one of the bigger moves to the downside here this morning, 15 plus, right now 16 actually, 16% to the downside. There was an offering coming through from them. 400 million private offering, 4.25% convertible notes due in 2032. So day lows essentially right now. This one down big time.
Yeah, this is a yucky one. Yucky. But
It's a nice run.
yeah, we talked about this in the aftermarket show where, you know, sometimes the stock is up to something. It was like a really, really long, and talk about ASTS, ASTIS here. I know it's not. We had a conversation about this in the aftermarket show about how traders like to take a name like this, ASTS, give it a nickname that you're going to be able to remember so that, you know, when there's a million symbols that you got to keep in your head, well, I have no trouble remembering this one at all. But something was already going on here with all the weakness. Anytime it would get to the 50 period, like somebody was just clearly, oh yeah, turn on a sell program when this thing gets to the 50 period on the daily. And now you've broken out on this offering out of this channel, at least temporarily. Like I think, give it a beat. Like sometimes you make the offering, maybe you can hold on to this 200 period moving average, and then what I'd be interested in is if it does bounce, short the 50 again. But if it breaks the 200 period, I think maybe you start working off that because that was support going all the way back to August. So it's worth being on the radars. What's interesting is like I feel like if EA and AAL hadn't done their thing, maybe this would be a little bit more enticing. Mercenary Floridor? I don't know if I pronounced that right. Thank you for the super chat there. Is there anything with ELF? I have not heard any news on ELF Beauty, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing happening. It's down a point. I mean, it's not, you know, this one. Speaking of the 50 period moving average, ELF just lost the 50 period a couple of days ago. So if anything, I would sort of say it looks like a bit of a continuation play after it did that. But no pre-market volume on ELF. It just feels like, hey, it dumped a couple of days ago off that 50 period. It has been going lower ever since. But in terms of actual news or any volume, not really seeing it. Appreciate the super chat for sure, you know, but I don't really see any news.
Yeah, that ELF apparently falling off the shelf.
Heyo.
Yeah, so this again, right here. What's up, Roaring Kitty?
Oh.
Yeah, so we post this little video here, of course, and you guys have probably all seen it right there. So we're going to find out. Oh, there's the Unity as well. I mean, just a couple cryptic posts recently, right? That haven't really involved or turned into too much here. But like the U falls off of here, this is Futurama. The dog's waiting outside. There's a whole story about it. And at the beginning, it's January 2nd, 2000. So wondering what that all means. Are we about to have a little bit of a dump? That was, I think, the first day the market opened after Y2K or something like that. Yeah, so, and you know, there it is. GME up 1.62%. They had like a real, like nice move, right? I mean, in the last couple months up to that $34 mark that we've seen before. And I mean, when you get into these tops, we saw Disney like in and around that 118, 120. I mean, there's many stocks like this. That Alpha was just another example up there at 140. But yeah. So that dipped out, and now you're back into here. We held the 200 period the last time. We had broke the 50 a bunch of times, so we're not too concerned about that. So right now you're looking at like a 24, 25 area. You don't want it to get down there if you're long because it's $28 as we speak. But at the end of the day, you know, maybe GameStop has something about it. Did we ever, the short float? Oh, good. We have. We're going to get back over to the desk in 1 second. Let me just check out the GME short float here because I know it's been all right. So we're only at 8% right now on the short float. So well underneath the 100 and something % when he was calling it out the first
Super
time.
chat.
Oh, we have a super chat. Okay, what is this super chat?
For you.
Morning, Sean. What's on the magical sticky note? So the best part about the magical sticky note is A, it's not magic. It's very, very common sense, but thank you for that. It is now posted. And if you want to go have a look at it, the sticky note is available. 491,000. We even got to get that updated now as we approach 500,000 subscribers right now. This was hilarious, by the way. If you guys come over to me, this is when I tell my wife I had a winning trade. Watch this. This is the best part. This Barron. Look at, yeah. I love the thumbs up.
He's
here.
such a monster.
Look at this. Watch this part. There it is. There it is. That's it. When I tell my wife I had a winning trade. Okay, so here's a sticky note right here. I really like this. This is 223. I was writing down 225.50. I like Apple, IBIT, Nvidia, and I like AAL. So we're gonna get to Apple and all that, but thank you so much, Thomas, for the super chat. And look, I opened the show with Apple. Yesterday, that ARM trade was $20 long, right? And then we had a $5 winner on Tesla at the end of the day. We also had a $4 or $5 winner on Nvidia right off the jump. We had the TQQs, which was a monster trade. I don't know if Apple's going to go a couple dollars today, but I really like the long. I like it back here to the 200 period moving average. I like it back to yesterday's close. So for me, Apple, if we get a dip down here today, I know it hasn't been performing well on the daily chart, but I really like the trend that we saw yesterday late. I'm going to try Apple for my long. And an apple a day hopefully keeps the red P&L away. So we'll see if there's anything with that. All right, we're having connection problems with the desk, so we don't hear anything. So I'm just going to throw it back to the gentleman.
Things coming up here with Chris Farley, Trade Ideas. Been on the show before. It's been a long time, but we'll get a look at the overall market here. And a few individual ideas from our friends over at Trade Ideas, a few tools that we can maybe add to our repertoire here. There he is. Good to see you. First off, Chris, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
It's been a while, but good to have you back. Let's talk the overall market here to start things off. We've had up and away once again ever since the new year, ever since the inauguration even.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. A lot of personalities all around, and I try to believe I'm somewhere in the middle of the road between the bulls and the bears, and really kind of just let trend and price direction, indicate where we're headed, and dovetail into what I've got here with a few slides. But every time there's this little pullback off these all-time highs that we just continue to make more than less. You get a lot of noise out there, and it's, the bear market selling, and there's a lot of bear thesis that I'm sure they have a lot of validity, and the bulls the same thing. And I just think it's important to, call a correction when it's a correction, and call a bear market when it's a bear market. And everything else outside of that is to understand that we just don't make an all-time high every day or every week or sometimes every month. And we still don't have to be really selling off at that point either. So, you do a top-down analysis on the sectors, you're going to find things like the XLF, it's very strong. You don't see things like that when there's danger. The XLF is just not going to sit there at a high level like that. So those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about and looking at here in the new year.
Yeah, and if you ever find yourself, I always like to mention that if you ever find yourself in that situation where you're starting to panic a little, just zoom out. Zoom way out and get a better picture of actually what is happening. So talk us through this first chart here about the overall market.
All right, so I've got a SPY chart up here, and the first thing that I want to indicate is that there's these B's and S's on that chart, and they're indicating buys and sells from a feature we call our trade wave. It's an EMA cloud with a crossover in it, and essentially, for the most part, what any trader is on any time frame is a trend follower, whether you know it or not. The idea is to identify a trend as early as possible, whether you want to be on the uptrend or the downtrend, and then identify it as early as possible when it's ending, right? And, one of the big things I've seen over the last couple of years, a few appearances here and other live streams, emails that come into me, I want buy and sell signals. I want buy and sell signals. And, there's no magic system out there, at least not for retail traders anyway, that's going to give you a buy or sell. But one of the hardest things for especially newer retail traders is understanding that not only are we risk managers, but we're trend followers. And so, the SPY chart up here, if you look at from the low to the high on this, you've got an uptrend with lots of little pullbacks in it, and we can see how the wave illustrates those pullbacks for those buys and sells. Are they an end-all, be-all? Oh, this is the buy, this is the sell. No, but if you try to look at, lining those buys up and how, each one seems to be a bit higher than the last, the sells, each one is mostly for the most part a bit higher than the last. You can identify that trend a little better here. So it's a new indicator that we've put in, I want to say sometime in October. It fits on any chart, on any time frame, any stock like that. And so again, I think it's something for the newer trader, maybe even the veteran trader that maybe is having a little bit of a struggle on these pullbacks and choppy markets like that. So that's where I start with the SPY.
All right. As far as individual areas of the market or individual names moving around here that are looking decent, as far as maybe some opportunities to come here, what are you looking at?
So, on the next slide that I put there, was looking at the daily chart. We have 3 scans for the trade wave that indicate buy signals. And so the first one I looked at was MIR, M-I-R, came through yesterday. It's positioned in 52-week range. It's 89% above the low of the 52-week range. So we could get crosses all day long. If something's moving sideways, it really means nothing. So we want to find things that are in an uptrend and that are making that cross. So I put MIR up there as one of those. It had a pullback with the rest of the market. It's given us a buy signal on the trade wave again from that scan. And then, I indicate that same thing on the chart with MIR. So it's one of those ones. It's got decent liquidity to it. It's a technology stock, AI, all those buzz things that are like that. But, the chart more than anything else kind of confirms a story with that here. Do the same thing looking at Roku. I know that's always a popular one on the show here. And Roku has been running sideways more than less recently. But if the overall market is going to begin to move up and take off again, I think Roku is something that, we might want to be looking at here, and the trade wave gives us that signal as well on a daily chart. I don't know if we have all the slides up, but I'm going to move in the order of the slides. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, we have 3 scans or 3 time frames on this, a daily, a weekly. I didn't feature anything on the weekly for the show today, but there's a 5-minute scan as well. One thing when I was going through charts yesterday, I was trying to find, first stocks that have some liquidity to them. Nobody wants to be trading something that trades 100,000 shares, for example. But finding that liquidity. And yesterday, the overall market was choppy, and so was everything that was coming through that 5-minute buy on the trade wave as well. But I found BLBX. It gave us a couple of good looks here. There was one that was just after 10 and another one just before 1 o'clock Eastern. And I want to indicate again how the buy and the sells aren't the end all be all with that chart. You get a buy signal at that just after 10, maybe 10:40 or so, and then you get a sell signal about an hour later. But if we had waited for that sell signal and didn't, pay attention to the pullback that was going on, we gave up a lot of the alpha on that. So again, that's what I want to illustrate here is while it's a great tool, it's a great indicator, it's not an end-all, be-all. And then, we did the same thing looking at MGNI. There was another tech stock, actually. They think it's something with security, software security, something like that. And again, we get a buy signal about 10 o'clock here in the morning. And then we see a sell signal doesn't come till way later in the day after that buy signal, about 1 o'clock, 1:50 or so. Again, are these end all be all, hey, run out and buy this? No. But especially for anybody, early on, it was hard for me to understand as a trader that I'm a trend follower. It took me a long time to understand that and have it pointed out to me several times. So I just feel like this is one of those indicators for newer traders that can really help them get their footing on that and identify those trends. The trend is your friend.
As always, we need to mention, everybody do your homework, do your back testing, go make sure you're comfortable with the overall idea before putting anything to work in that sense. But great opportunities, great options as always coming from Trade Ideas. Chris Farley, good stuff as always. Have a great weekend. We'll touch base in a couple weeks.
Sounds great. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend yourselves. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, big thank you there, Chris, and I appreciate that. I think what's really cool is, somebody saying something like, finding out that you are a trend trader and want to be able to follow trend. Because actually, I was meaning to talk about this, and we didn't get to do a lesson of the day yesterday. you always have to also know your time framing, because one of the cool things about trend is you can have like that, small cap, penny stock, whatever it might be, that's trending just for that day. You can be, I'm generally looking long on a stock like Mirror, just have it up because Chris mentioned it, where you've been in a gentle upward trend and the stock is trending, so then you favor longs every single day. And you have to know that time frame. On a swing trading basis, okay, like this could be in a long trend, but you might look at something which has been bouncing in an upward trend and think almost the other thing, which like something like Intel, like that's been trending up and been holding higher, but it actually as a day trade looks like a short up here in the 22 quarter range. So yeah, you'll know your time frame as well when you're looking at trends. If you're a swing trader, make sure you're not putting too much emphasis on a 3 or 5 minute chart. But as a day trader, certainly it provides you with opportunities that are against an overall trend, but during that day, they look fantastic. I believe we have some upgrades and downgrades with Adara.
We're going to start off with Netflix getting an upgrade here from Wolf Research, an $1,100 price target. So NFLX on watch. Can it break that $1,000 barrier once again? We have Chewy here getting upgraded by Argus, up about 1.5%. Of course, also on watch after Roaring Kitty tweeted again last night. Logitech getting upgraded by Morgan Stanley, and Trupanion being upgraded here by Piper Sandler. On the downgrade side of things, EA kicking off the list, Electronic Arts being downgraded by Raymond James, as well as other analysts like BMO Capital Markets and B of A. Of course, they did have that much weaker than expected preliminary Q3 2025 report. You can check out more about that on our watch list. AMH downgraded here by Scotiabank, Parsons being downgraded by William Blair, and last but not least, Goldman Sachs downgrading Viva, guys. Back to you.
Couple interesting names on there. I just want to, just real quick, we're in a position, you could see AAL right there. We liked it off the sticky note. We wrote down $18 short. So we just sat there. We take a starter position. We never want to take too many shares here in the pre-market. Well, I mean, just not at 855. So, okay, there it is. So a little bit of a flush down. We'll take some pieces out there at 77. And now we'll wait to see if we can get more of a bigger move down. So that's a 20... we're out at 20% there, 4.25 cents. So not a bad trade there to start with AAL. So yeah, I saw that you're going to go with Chewy there. I mean,
only because
we had that GameStop and we had that tweet. Yeah, so we know that there's some involvement there with Chewy.
On the off.
I mean, I like the levels. Why don't we go to Neil's screen, because those are some good. Okay. Here comes AAL.
Like it's an upgrade, and I have no idea why Roaring Kitty's tweeting about Futurama. Like I think it was an underrated show, no question about it. A cool scene, all that good stuff. But whatever he meant, it doesn't really matter. Like it's a squeeze stock, and it's at a squeeze level, like this 38. I think it makes it pretty simple for Chewy. Like these are 52-week highs, I do believe. I don't know what's up with that wick. I have to double check to see. Whatever, on a closing basis, essentially you're going to be at some 52-week highs. But look at that resistance at $38. Like this is a kind of trade where it doesn't matter why it's going up or what the heck this dude is talking about or not saying anything about. It's got a decent short float, 9%, and you've got a 38 potential breakout on Chewy. What's up, Randy?
You've got your dog there, Randy. Where do you get the dog food from? You go to Walmart, you go to Pet Value? Yeah. We have a Pet Value near our house.
We fighting for this one? No. I already have one, so we're good. I was going to joke and say we could arm wrestle over, but I already got one.
So there's only one.
What? Is there only... There's
already? Oh, man.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. How big have we gotten over there with the feline, or the
feline?
The feline.
The hound?
He is a...
he's a $1.75, something like that.
Oh, my God. And only 5 years old?
Boy.
5 and change.
Oh, my God. Clyde.
Like Clyde Drexler?
Clyde the Glide?
Clyde.
I saw a video where Scottie Pippen was saying some absolute nonsense about like if he was asked a question of him and Clyde Drexler were a team together instead of Michael, and then Michael was with Charles Barkley, who would have won more championships, and he's like, yeah, me and Clyde.
Whoever's with Michael.
I'm like, get out of here. Like, A, it's Michael Jordan. B, Charles Barkley is like no slouch.
No.
Clyde the Glide was a good player, though.
Yep.
He was a good player.
Big Drexler fan. Okay.
Really?
Coffee?
Well,
I love coffee. Right there, bang. We'll take some coffee. He's coming down here. The money's starting to already come through.
When I was a kid. It was a long time ago, dude.
Okay.
When you were a kid, yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
So there's another one. So there's an out at 75 and out at 61 for American Airlines. So we did it. I want to thank somebody for yesterday. We talked about this tweet that I put out that I just think is just funny, this thing here. And then we had some comments about the ARM trade yesterday and whatnot. Meta in there as well, but there it is, the ARM trade from yesterday. So we're putting out some more wins right here. Here's the Roaring Kitty. Don't be upset, Brad, that you missed the trade. There's lots of trades coming through, but yeah, I like this AAL. We talked about it. There it is there, given at $18. So yeah, nice move to the downside temporarily. We got out of another 10% or so. We have a little less right now. We have about 80% left or so of this trade. So we'll see what happens now with AAL coming right back up. So treat it as you want. In the pre-market, we look at things like the imbalance locator, which AAL is a NASDAQ name. So we won't get imbalance data for that until 25. So for right now, just New York names, and this is what it looks like. There's not too much on there. QBTS, I know Rigetti's doing 789 million shares already in the pre-market. We'll have a look at that as well. But there's QBTS on watch. Oracle with a bid. But notice these numbers here, 80,000. These are not significant whatsoever. I don't even know what half N is right there, but that's on the board as well. So, okay, look, we have a watch list that's out. Make sure you go grab it, and we're going to start talking about what's on it soon. And I think we go back to Sharif with a market little recap as well.
I think so.
We're going to look at the futures real quick, but I want to mention to you guys on the SPX, the actual index, we made an intraday all-time high, taking out 6,100 points. That's the index, not the futures. Want to mention that to you guys. All right, the overnight high, 61.20. We just actually printed that. We're looking at 61.37, 61.30-ish area as the resistance level for today. That is as good as we could do yesterday. To the downside, we're using 6,100 as support.
All right, as always, if you have not done so yet, jump down into the description of this video right now. Top link in that description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. If you want more info on trade ideas, there's a link in the description as well to get you to trade ideas. Shout out to Chris Farley. Watch list, though, has everything you need to know on it every single day. Comes right to your inbox for free. IBIT, let's talk some Bitcoin here. Larry Fink on Bloomberg yesterday, BlackRock CEO, saying 700,000 if, quote unquote, the world catches up with the narrative.
I'm good with that, Brendo.
Sure.
Yeah.
2% right now, though, downside.
Yeah, he's evolved in his view. He was a skeptic. Now he's endorsing it openly. He sees Bitcoin as a potential hedge against economic and potential instability, as well as devaluation for currencies that are heavily inflated. With respect to the crypto market in general, it looks like we had about $185 million in liquidations in the past 24 hours after we made that all-time high, 109,000. Trying to defend 100 right now.
Yeah, back to the upside right now for not only Bitcoin, but some of these ETFs and equities too, guys.
Yes, sir. Just in a quick second, but I want to point out this first. But Spruce Point Capital Management released a short report here on Road. So Construction Partners, Inc., which is ROAD. They're only down about 5 points on light volume, but another short seller report comes out. And you can probably check it out at their website, but keep an eye on this one if it wants to do some continuation. Not a lot of volume just yet, but we can't get away from 100K, but I actually don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at this point. Because what you're at least seeing here is a bit of you had that bottoming tail candle underneath 90. That's what I wanted to show off there. And now all of a sudden, you're putting in these higher lows. Since we held 100, hold 100, hopefully hold 100 again. Like before, we were breaking 100 each time we would retest it. And now it feels like we have a chance to bounce off 100 and get back to the high first. So while Bitcoin's in this consolidated phase, I kind of feel like it's a good thing that if we don't retest that 89 to 90 area one more time. That said, when you're at the lows, I got to look over on any weakness at Mara because that doesn't look very good at all. We talk about something trending down. Well, every single day that this has been popping over $20, there's been a seller over 20. Seller over 20, seller at 20, seller at 20. So if we get a 100K bounce, I want to short into 20 on Mara, assuming we get this bounce off the 100,000 level. If we're just sort of breaking through 100,000, then Mara also has a flat bottom break at $18.60. So this is the one I'm watching. But it's a bearish look on Mara.
I just took out some more here at 84.85 on AAL because we just popped through 18. We're waiting at 18.25. We did not get more, and then it came right back in a little bit there. So we'll take some more out right now of AAL, still holding on to 70% now of that trade. Okay, so on the sticky note for me is going to be IBIT. And I as I was writing it, I was even saying to Neil, I hate writing that I want to go short on this, but we're down 2%. I don't think that it's going to crash or anything like that. But when we wrote that, it was at 101.5. And since then, we've just been sort of making our way back up. So there's 58.50. It's a 200 period. You're now getting really close to it. This might not be that trade, but let's let it go for a minute. Yesterday, we hit IBIT. Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember, but when it trends, it really starts to go. And we've been looking for some longs, and they've been working, right? We're looking for it off the 200 period moving average. Now we trade underneath it. This is a 5-minute chart. So there's 58.50 basically. I mean, if you ranch it all the way up to 58.80, that's yesterday's bottom. I wrote down 58.50, so that's where my short is right now. I'm waiting at 58.50. I don't think I get out of this until we break through 59. So that's fine. If we take a 50-cent hit on this, that is completely good to me. I don't think this is one we layer into, but for right now, I'm going to try to go short. I will go short IBIT underneath 59. So again, there's the calculation. We got the website there yesterday. There's some sort of a way to figure it all out. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to trade it off of what I see here technically. And if Bitcoin wants to rip up and take off, hopefully we'll hear some news about it and we can be able to get away from it. And if it's really, really ripping our face off, then it'll be a 50-cent hit maximum. So that's what we're doing. It's a starter position at 58.50 where the 200 period is, and then we'll see if that can make a move back in. And if it does, it's about 50 cents, right? 50 cents back to the VWAP, 50 cents up to 59. So for me, I'm going to try to go short on IBIT.
Randy,
yeah. Hey, what's up, Randy? It's not of the utmost conviction, but it's convicted enough to put it on here. So I'm going to go with that one. People mentioning about PLTR. We still have, DJT is a stock that we haven't looked at.
Oh, that's been burning.
Trump comes and he has a talk today, right?
Yeah, 11 o'clock he's going to be. Well, probably not 11 o'clock. Everyone waits for the president, so it's supposed to be at 11.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully, maybe he'll be early. We'll see. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's go talk about, thanks, Randy. Let's go talk about NVIDIA possibly being a sell.
Yeah, downside again this morning. We are trying to hold 144 right now, but 1.6. Under pressure again after, as I mentioned, was one of a few anyways that led that sell-off late in the day for the overall market. Continued after the close yesterday. We get the gap down this morning. There's nothing major as far as headlines today, but finally maybe showing a little bit of signs of topping, possibly?
A little bit, yeah. You kind of feel that, especially with no continuity yesterday. So it looked like we got a big move up earlier in the week on the back of that Stargate announcement. NVIDIA widely expected to be a huge benefactor of the money that's going to be spent there. Milius Research predicting that they're going to basically accumulate 100 billion of that earmarked 500 billion, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. It's expected to boost demand, obviously, for their AI chips, of which they hold 85 to 90% of the market. So we'll keep an eye on this one. But I should mention here, it also alleviates a little bit of the Blackwell concerns because people were worried about Blackwell coming out a little bit later. Looks like, this money and the incentive to have it out because of Stargate might actually accelerate that a bit.
Yeah, time will tell. If you take out the aftermarket move and just remove the time from that, there's that low from early on yesterday. We ended up holding guys around 144.50. Seems to be a magnet right now.
Yeah, we're diddling in the middle of this gap range, like yesterday's highs and then sort of where we were at on Monday. Their 142 close. So it's like I said, diddling in the middle. This is where the 143.5 came from, which is go all the way back to this major flush that you had on the 7th. But because this is diddling, I don't have strong feelings on NVIDIA unless you're reverting off 142. I think if you hold 145 off the open, then yesterday's longs off the open are looking really good. But when I looked over at AMD, it was hard to ignore the price action alternatively in AMD. Like AMD was a more of a clear, okay, we tried to get above 125, abjectly failed. Unlike NVIDIA, It didn't try to hold up there or consolidate. No, it just flunked right through, put in a head and shoulders on the daily chart. It maintained this trend where every time it pops for a few days, you stay on the trend line, which, I don't know, that didn't save again. You stay on the trend line, and it just cannot seem to break out above on AMD. So it looks like it's on another curl. So I'd rather short this, which is setting up very nicely on the chart. So obviously you have yesterday's lows. I like support turning into resistance. As long as we're underneath this 123 on AMD, that wasn't meant to rhyme either, then I want to look short there. NVIDIA, I feel like I want to short AMD today. NVIDIA, I want to give it a chance to hold the bid and maybe still look for some longs, even though things seem bearish today. So I'm just going to stay away from NVIDIA off the open.
So just a little interesting thing here with Micron. Micron, you know, huge move to the upside right there. It's coming up to some of those levels that we've talked about before, where you sort of see that shelf. And right now, that 115, it doesn't seem to want to break it. You're underneath the 200 period. It's been a pretty good move. This name has fallen back in a little bit, and today down 3.48%. So we dig a little bit deeper into this name. And then one of their competitors, SK Hynix, reports lower than expected demand for the chip space. So right there, and again, competitor to Micron on the memory. So 2.6%, they were down there in Korea. SK Hynix right there as a competitor. So you're seeing Micron now today down for almost 4% and looking like a problem. So for me, I'm going to try to go short if we get anywhere up here, 107, 108. Let's wait to see if Micron can get there. I mean, a bump up of $2 on someone maybe not that they wouldn't know the story, but that doesn't really care about it. That could get bumped up there if that does happen. American Airlines is bouncing around its 15-cent winner. You guys could take it if you want. I'm going to hold out to see if we get a little bit of a flush, but it's still early, and I'm not liking the fact that American Airlines right here isn't coming back through this 200-period moving average. So may get another piece out, but I just want to give everybody forewarning on that one. So Micron 108, and if you're looking for a breakdown on this name, I just don't know what the futures are going to do today, so I'm not sure we want to like smash any of these levels to the downside. Really, the breaking spot is probably tomorrow in here at 102. Like that would be a nice lose of that bottom there, and then into here 98 or so. But I you know, today downside move, gapping down on SK Hynix earnings. So there's the play back up to the 50-period moving average. If we can get something at 107, I think that's pretty good. Early bouncing spots here for Micron 103. If there's something there, I have written down on the sticky note today, NVIDIA. It was just a shot in the dark here on NVIDIA, and it only because we talked about this, the flushes and the rips and whatnot that this thing can do right off the open every single day. So if that does happen here today, then we've already sort of pushed back a lot on NVIDIA, down 1.6. I mean, I was thinking, you know, this week we could get back to that 153.50 or whatever that all-time high is. Looks like we might have to sleep on that a little bit, but at the end of the day, you're still trying to ride this 200-period moving average. So if you want to take a long, 144 could be the thing. We hit that long yesterday, and oh boy, was that a rocket ship. That was one of our best trades yesterday, waiting and waiting and waiting, and then getting that 144 and then ripping it to the top side. Today, because NVIDIA is down, I like a push. I wrote down 140 as the long, like we basically stop going long if it breaks 140. But with that being said, I'm bidding. I mean, I don't have it written down on the sheet right here, but I'm bidding 140.50, which is right here. But I'm thinking 142 to start the party. So put like 20% of the shares you're thinking about at 142 in case we get that $2 move down. And then, you know, if you have to, I'm willing to sort of stand on the hill there in and around 140 with NVIDIA. So that's going to be a play in case the market falls out. Like if Trump comes out and says something about China or tariffs and chip space, and I don't know, that could be a problem, but we'll play that by ear. That's 11 o'clock.
It's a weird time.
I'm not going to worry about that. But the Micron trade, and you're welcome, Carly, I think that's a much better look than that. So, all right, let's go back over to the guys, and we'll start talking, I guess, about Tesla.
Cautious is a good word.
Cautious.
Lock for Trump, but typically that means it'll be 12,
anytime,
12:30. We'll see. He hasn't really been punctual this time around yet. Here's Tesla back green, at least on the day, 0.17. We'll see 415 holding. That was a low from after the close yesterday. We're getting a whole bunch of price hikes on this side of the border, and they're not small. Right across the board, the entire lineup going to get a price hike.
Ridiculous here. I mean, the Model 3, the cheapest or the least expensive of the models, $9,000. Increase Canadian, obviously. The Model Y getting a $4,000 Canadian move up. So these are not small amounts over here. In the Model S and the Model X, I'm not even sure, but they're more expensive. Anyway, it looks like they're getting a $4,000 increase. This all starts February 1st, guys. So anybody on the Canadian side of the border, you want to buy a Tesla, probably right now is the time. All right, here's the deal. Oppenheimer with a bit of a cautious outlook today on Tesla. They're chiming in. They're like, look, there's a lot of good stuff happening, but we're really not sure if what's actually being said is what's happening behind the scenes. They're questioning whether or not Model 2 will be released in time. They're also questioning some of the advancements being made in autonomous, and we're going to keep an eye on that. But despite the strong financials, Oppenheimer notes soft demand in the U.S. and Europe, especially these markets where Tesla is the strongest, can lead to a bit lower estimates for 2025.
Yeah, we'll see how the Sam Altman round 2 goes, I guess, with Elon as well. They were going back and forth a little bit yesterday, guys.
A little bit, but Elon's been busy on X, cracking jokes, going back and forth with Sam. Look, if you get all of that out of the way, this is the first day in a while that no NVIDIA, no Tesla, and then I didn't even put Amazon on the list today, which is weird because I was like, after that happened, I was like, I got to be at least looking at Amazon for another continuation play. Look at Apple, AMD, EA, and GE. It's just one of those days where Tesla doesn't necessarily. It doesn't profile for me as the best trading opportunity. That said, I'd be remiss if we didn't sort of point out like this trend sort of hold that it had. Should be at 412, but it actually bottomed that out yesterday and was able to hold on to it. And then you've got the 420 level, which looks good. So I think you've got a pretty definable range on Tesla. But outside of that, I think I'm going to stay away from Tesla today unless it gives some kind of reversion or carry through off of either that 412 bottom or the 420 top. At this price, I don't really, maybe you favor shorts maybe because that's what it's been doing for a while, but not that convicted in it, whereas I do know I like that AMD play. And only because, we're not going to get a chance to mention it. Like when we're saying like Apple, I know Sean agrees with this too. Like it bounced that 200 period moving average or close enough to it. It was like 1% from the 200 period on the daily, which is that's close enough. And the fact that it closed on that strength in the afternoon, even getting out of longs too early into the close, and then into a weak market, you're also holding higher, prior resistance into support. It's just going to be that simple on Apple. But Tesla, cautious, it would be the right word for that stock, I think. Today, because the 420 seller has been pretty legit the last little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, same thing. I didn't write it down today. We had a good trade yesterday. Tesla was a great trade at the end of the day yesterday. We shorted right here, 420. And we had that $5 winner right there at the end of the day. So go follow me at TraderTV, Sean, and you'll be able to get all of that good stuff there. And we talked about it yesterday there. That's still that Barron Trump thing is too funny. But right there, shorting. We should have shorted it again. But here's the trade that we had on Tesla yesterday. Banger to end the day. Like really happy to do that. Really sort of topped off the net there. But that was a nice move back into 415. And that's kind of where we are right now, right? So we'll have to wait to see where Tesla winds up going. I mean, it didn't make a move too much overnight. Sometimes you'll come in and you'll see Tesla up 4 or 5% or down the other way. Being flat is kind of, I still like the autonomy talk. I mean, I'm obviously, as we sit here, we talk about EVs. We don't like the EV space. I mean, you can look at many EV stocks, and it's like the worst neighborhood. It's just not a great place to be chilling out right now in EV land. So let's talk about then autonomous driving. They're going to have the robo-taxis. They're going to have, hopefully, something to do with Optimus and just more ideas coming from Tesla that hopefully being in bed, not literally, I guess, but with Trump and the new administration. I know there's talk about that maybe not being the greatest, but I still think it can't hurt. Donald Trump has shown us that he is the president of the stock market and really wants to get that stuff going. And I think that I know sort of they took away that Doge and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to just wait to see if there is any sort of pushback, but it's really coiling up. So I think Tesla's getting ready to break. As long as we're above the 50-period moving average, I like the dip buy opportunities into those areas. So for me today, just not enough juice, not enough reason, no catalyst for me on Tesla. So I'm going to stay away. If I do anything, it'll be like what we did yesterday afternoon, where we find a level that makes some sense. There's 420, there's the breakdown, there's the retest, there's the retest, there's the dump. So, you know, like, look at this. Like yesterday, bang and boom. So, you know, we'll get some moves on Tesla for sure. We had a question about pre-market levels and how do you trade off of them. This is probably a good example right now. If you want to go short on Tesla, you really don't have many levels to play off of, because if you break this 415, well, then you're going to run into something here at 414, which is still good. Take the dollar, right? But at the end of the day, does it hold down here or not? I'd rather see us consolidate and then break that bottom of 412. So let's see it trade around here, then get that flush back in. That's the trade. Or I think you almost wait for 420 to break high side. I'm not in love with the levels, too much in the middle here on Tesla. If Chef Joe was in the chat, I could ask him, but I don't.
What's up, Chef?
What's up, Chef? So, all right, let's go back over and now talk about AAL. I have a position on that. I just took some more out, so it's about time that we discuss what we're doing with American Airlines.
This portion of the show brought to you by Hive Digital Technologies, HIVE on the NASDAQ. They are pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions in Bitcoin mining, a global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more at Hive Digital Tech or hivedigitaltech.com. Sign up for their free Hive newsletter for updates. Yeah, let's talk AAL. 4.25 still to the downside, kind of stalling out here at 18, but nice bounce underway here. It was really just the forecast that was a problem.
It was. The forecast was really light. Their Q4 2024 earnings were quite good. They beat on earnings per share. Revenue was up nicely, surpassing what the street was looking for. Profit was really where it caught my attention. They made about $20 million last year on the quarter. This year they made $590 million. But the Q1 2025 earnings outlook is where it all falls apart, Brendo. They're expecting significant charges to come in. Their unit costs, excluding fuel, are going to rise substantially, eating into their margins. For example, a 2% capacity reduction, so they're not going to have as many people flying, less revenue, increased reliance on smaller jets where they can't carry as many people, and the impact of new labor agreements that they signed last year are obviously going to eat into margins as well.
Yeah, they need those double-decker seats that we were looking at yesterday where there's like two people on. Have you seen those? It's nuts. So two people on top of each other. Downside here, Sean, you have this.
Yeah, so we have written down here on our sticky note today, and again, I just was looking at the space, and it was just so hot. And then when I saw the note come today for the guide lower, I was just kind of like, all right, man. I mean, if you didn't get out of this name and it's up here, then you see this report and you're down 5 points in a market that's been kind of ripping, you're going to get like kind of that FOMO of why did I not sell? So I was thinking that if we got a pop up here, and I wrote this note like down into here, right? Like 8 o'clock as we're coming back up. And I just said to myself, why not short in and around 18 bucks? I mean, it seemed like anyways, there could have been levels. I mean, I like even dollar levels, and we were down at 17 bucks. For some reason, it ripped up there, and it's been there for a minute. So it's not like this is a trade that we all couldn't have had. I just like the trade, but it's in the pre-market, so it's not a heck of a lot of shares. But at the same time, I'm thinking we could still get a little bit of a pop-up. We're going to have 2 minutes, and we'll get the imbalance, and we'll figure it all out. Tricky stock to trade, especially on earnings. Generally speaking, we like to play back to VWAP. So my next out is at 50 cents, and then we'll wait down here for $17. If we're wrong on this name, and for some reason they want to really buy it back up, then I think I'm in trouble at 19 and we get out. So that's why we can't really start to put some serious shares on until in and around 18.50. If it rips up, that's going to be the trade. We'll put a latte in our pocket for now. Hopefully not in our pocket, maybe down the gullet, but yeah, we'll have to wait to figure out, 17.50 would be a great spot, I feel like, to cover some of these shares. So that's 50 cents that way. We'll give it 50 cents upside before we put any more on, and at the end of the day, $19. So again, engine's cooling on this airline for sure. As we get in. So that's what I'm looking for. My next bid is at 50s. So that's that.
There's if you pull out that book down a little tiny bit,
big order here?
There's a big. So Nasdaq imbalances don't come out for a couple of minutes, but yeah, there's a seller at 1790.
Remember, it's already done 11 million shares.
That's what I'm saying. But if you see an imbalance, sometimes it can be indicated there's someone on the book, and then they put that order into the imbalance. So you might see AAL with a bit of an imbalance.
Yep.
Look, it's a great stock on the daily chart, but it's a different story today. The only thing we're going to get to EA. I like EA today. Both of them are down. EA down a lot, like 16%. But AAL bounced the 50 period. And when I threw up a trend line, which I need it underneath 17.5. It's just like looking at that, and it's like, okay, well, if it's in that bounce zone, like if it carries underneath there, then I would look for some kind of a short off the open off of that level, because that's the level I like. And outside of that, I'd be looking more like an 1830. So I didn't want to be in this one. And it's EA that also that has my attention, like 52-week. Like we'll get to EA in a quick little second here. But yeah, just watch out. I think there could be sell imbalance potentially on AAL, as their earnings were bad, but the company that didn't even report down even bigger.
Great. We were just looking at this daily chart on EA. If you go back to December 4th, which is this high, the second time it got up here, 168, we're opening down here this morning. That's 30% to the downside since December 4th.
That's a big move. That double top at 170, I was just telling you off camera, really aggressive there. So here is the look with respect to earnings. They slashed their full year net bookings forecast from $7 billion to about 7.15. Earlier, they had forecasted 7.5 to 7.8 billion. Expected Q3 revenue as well, 1.88 billion, dropping below the earlier forecast. It's really driven by two different names here, guys. EA Sports, their FC25, that is what used to be called FIFA. Sales really down there, declining after 2 years of double-digit growth. And then Dragon Age, apparently the role-playing game underperformed expectations by around 50% with only 1.5 million players. A lot of people making criticisms about this online, saying that it went in a certain political direction that they didn't like.
Yeah, no sign of any kind of bounce just yet. I was just looking. There's a long list of downgrades on this as well, including BMO, B of A, Raymond James, Baird, just to name a few, all downgrading the stock.
Yeah. You know, maybe there's a hope that you come up with the preliminary earnings because you know how bad it's going to be. You get that out in front of it, and maybe by the time things roll around in a few weeks, it'll make some kind of a recovery, or things will look a little bit better because they've gotten out in front of the bad news. That said, it's down 17%, so obviously it'll be short sell restricted at the open. The uptick rule is going to be in effect on EA. 52-week low already breached. You go back to November of 2023 for the last time it had support here at right around 21, 22s. Slide over to the pre-market action here, and you've got this 22 top. So I'm looking fade into as long as it holds underneath 122. I'm just looking for shorts, which is weird because this is going to be at same price as AMD's at right now. So I like this one short. I like AMD on that short as well, but it might have to get that little SSR bounce. But it's a pop and fade for me on EA. We should get the NASDAQ imbalances in a couple of seconds here as 1, 2, and we'll see if any of the big NASDAQ names come out there. Not really. SLS, I don't see it. But yeah, looks like it is going to be a rough day for EA Sports.
All right, there it is, guys. Again, we hit the siren alert, we hit the money alert, we do all of that stuff because look at AAL. Again, we just talked about it. Brendan threw it over here. It's on the sticky note. We've had this name for about an hour now. And there it goes. Well, about 45 minutes. There goes American Airlines here. The NASDAQ's following this thing down. We've got this one, guys. It is one of those money things. And what's up, Ozan? Hopefully you guys have this with me. Every day, man, I get tweets. Can we do it again? Can we do it again? Can we do it again? And the answer is yes. So we're doing it again right now. It's AAL. It's a nice move to the downside. Couple percentage points right there, right? We were down about 5%. Now you're down 7%. So let's add that one to the pile right there. So let's go, Ozan. Let's go, everybody who is trading with your boy right now as that comes through. Look, man, I'm trying to skate where the puck is about to go, not where it's already been. So we'll channel our inner Wayne Gretzky here. Look, Take Two Interactive. This name was just at 52-week highs. They have Grand Theft Auto coming out. Obviously, they're going to be down 3% today on that EA Sports News. Like, if Grand Theft Auto is really a disaster, then how bad is Take-Two going to be? That's going to be horrible. This name's going to be crushed. But if you know anything about the video game space, look into Take-Two. I mean, this could be a buy down here in and around 180. I'm going to talk to my guy Fabian about this one. But I like this down into 180 for Take-Two Interactive. Could get there today. Figure out if there's any problems in this space first, but no problems with this trade right there. As American Airlines right now making them sing, an early Dollar Club candidate, 70 cents now in the money on AAL. I hope some of you guys took it, and best of luck to everybody out there trading today. So here we go. We'll wait to see what happens, but it's Adara on the bell with only 3 seconds left. 2 and 1. We are now open. Welcome to the jungle, man. And there's another fill for us on AAL. AAL is right now just touched $17. So, Neil, it is your first Dollar Club winner of the day, brought to you by Trader TV Live. So thanks for watching. And AAL right now is really starting to go to the downside, man. Hopefully you guys have this. It's a monster move for American Airlines. Hey, man, we've been posting this since an hour ago. Bye-bye American, and upside goes Apple. So there goes the play that we wanted long. Apple breaking now big time to the upside. But hey, man, we're already here with American Airlines.
Bye-bye. Yeah, Apple's absolutely gone. So NVIDIA downside already. My goodness, AMD just absolutely tanked. Gonna get over to EA quickly because this one is coming to the upside. Got to be ready for it. It just tagged 120. We like 122 for the pop and fade here on EA. So opening range is looking like it wants to get set. I know we didn't talk about the quantum names. We'll get there at some point today with Rigetti. There was an offering on D-Wave as well that we didn't quite get to. Here comes AMD now back to the upside a little bit here. So AMD did tank into 121. It's trying to push back into this 122 level as it looks like this market inching to the downside. But nothing, you're not cratering just yet, but you're just inching to the downside, looking to short the first available pop under this 122 on advanced micro devices. That one we know we like to the south side. But yeah, Apple, maybe the first dip. Apple's way too far.
I'm going long 226 on Apple. It's going to blast. We are right now on IBIT. This one, again, we've talked about starting a position on IBIT. So we do it right now, but we wanted to get out if it breaks 59. So we just, I don't know if, no, we didn't just get up there, did we? Okay, there goes Apple. We'll deal with this in a minute. But right now, Apple, we're long at 02s here. So let's just see. I mean, we've seen a retracement play on Apple once we've broken certain things. So let's just be careful. That's a huge move on Apple today. The only problem is like we wanted it, but it just took off. So we'll take sort of a starter position here on Apple. Back to 225. I mean, I don't not expect that to happen. We could fall. So let's be patient with it. We'll see if we could take something out at these highs, or sorry, like in a quarter, 50 cents or so. But we're going to wait to see what happens now with Apple, as your boy is long right now. Here we go. We're long Apple to see what's going on. IBIT 59 we said would be an out, so this is a decent spot to give it. So 59 and change here on IBIT for our out. This one could definitely work against us here as crypto back to 103.5, as the market not doing anything and crypto going up. So be careful with that play there on IBIT.
Yeah, be real careful. Like, I wasn't expecting that relative strength off Bitcoin right away. So Mara is pushing higher. It's 20 that I like. It's at 19.5, but I've seen this squeeze before. You know what can happen over there in crypto land. Those things can move really, really rapidly. So if it gets another 50 cents, that's the zone I'm looking for the short. AMD did come back into VWAP after flat bottom breaking 122. So we're going to try to continue the short. That wick, that was right off of the open, and then it came back to fill me. So we just got the prior low at 121.40 for an out. EA, just very quickly for you here, EA got to 122. Here's the best way to explain what happened. It got to $120, which was this level, and it's obviously short sell restricted. They stacked it up at the 120 and then blasted higher. So it was a very, very quick short. And then it did the over-under at an even dollar level for what looks like an SSR bounce. So I did get the short in front of 122, but instead of just sort of taking a piece out, I punched out.
Oh, that's why.
The second I saw that 120 go do that under over, and now you get a little bit of a bounce play. Still would look for some kind of a curl off of that level, or maybe it gets to 25 in curls, but don't want to stand in front of a moving freight train at this point on EA. I'd rather sort of take that one and then move on when it sets up a little bit better. For now, AMD looking okay underneath VWAP. Let's see if it can't get back into the lows. And as mentioned, as I watch Bitcoin continue to go higher, Mara's starting to get, it just got up to 19.55. Let's see if it can get a little bit higher before looking for that mean reversion. There was just a halt.
Okay, so by the way, we have to hit it. You know, like we're not going to sit here yesterday and talk about like all of our winners on ARM and all that and $20 and $10 on this or that. We just lost on IBIT. We tried it at, I thought maybe we got wicked out there at 59. I went to 59.05, and then it went back down into the 90s. So we tried it again and lost again. So we'll actually take 2 hits here on IBIT as it just continues to go upside, which is great. I mean, we're happy for Bitcoin. I remember when I was writing it down, I was like, I don't know. But we tried it in there into 59. But there it goes, 104 right now. So great move upside for IBIT. Okay, Apple, you went to the top and you failed. So we're taking it back here into VWAP. Let's see if it wants to bounce a little bit off of that level. Hopefully it does do that. But we're okay still. 225 and change. Our stop for Apple, if we're going to be wrong on this, I mean, breaking through VWAP is never something that you want to hold through. So that's probably something down there at 225 and change. I mean, to get into 224 is kind of a little bit murky down here because then you're waiting for 60s. If you break that, you're at 50s, and it just becomes too big of a hit. But there it comes. We get some out at 75, ease some of the pain there on this trade. But we're still down on Apple. Well, we're flat on Apple right now, position pending, because we take a win, then we take a little bit of a hit there on the average price. So Apple back to VWAP. I still like the stock. Basically, 1 for 1 with AAL. We got some more out right here. We're getting lighter and lighter on that position. We have about 20% left. And then O's on IBIT. We did not capture any victory, any winning trades there on IBIT whatsoever. And here's Apple. So it's a good thing we took some pressure off. Maybe we reload a little bit more down here in and around 225. But nice move up for NASDAQ, and Apple did not get back to the highs. So that's, again, potentially another problem here for Apple. So there's the last reload down there at 225. So let's wait to see we got VWAP. So if we lose it now, we're out of here.
Just very quickly, I got to get to Boeing in a second, but Palantir just went parabolic just there. Broken through yesterday's high. What a runner. And you're seeing this market not really do much. Like the NASDAQ is barcoding in the same levels it's been in all the overnight. So this is clearly going heavily.
Apple's not.
Apple is certainly coming in, and I like that to the long side as well. So I'm looking to catch a bid there. But GE, over under 200, not a lot of volume in the pre-market. It's a simple gap and go after earnings. Sorry, GE Aerospace, for anybody, broke out. Just held the $200 level. VWAP sits at 201. I'm going to pick this one up on the next available dip. I think we made the right call on EA, just being patient and waiting for the chance to get back into it again. Go from a New York to a NASDAQ stock. So again, not really going to be into EA until it does a bit of a curl. But here comes, like that's a strong move up in crypto. Mar just got into first resistance. So it looks like it's trying to make a bit of a mean revert on MARA, but trying to pick up the bid as well on General Electric. I feel like these earnings names so far have been the jam. AMD is still sitting in the same pocket, 121.5 into 122 on that one is 1 second, and there is, and then we'll get over to EA Sports. I feel like this is still going to be a short, but anytime something is SSR, you really want to have it reject the level. Now all I need is a lower high, and we'll jump back into this trade. I don't want to be getting in too heavily on the upside of a name like this, but now it's confirming the 122 short. It'll bounce off VWAP, and we'll short the next pop.
Rigetti's going, and we're going to have to look at Rigetti for sure. QBTS also trying to go. I'm going to go long one more time. Okay, there it is. I was going to say on this break for Apple, if it goes, it goes. We did get stopped out there, obviously, that first time as we all talked about it. Breaking through 225, we wanted to get out, so we put some more back on right now on Apple. It's just that fail break move that we've done numerous times here where we go in and then we get right back into it once we fail, and then we retake that level that we like. So right there, Apple. A good little reload. I mean, again, if it works, great. We're starting to get some more out as it busts through as we go along 225 basically now. Hopefully off the bottom. I'm not 100% sure. IBIT and Bitcoin is starting to go basically parabolic right now as well. We will look at Rigetti, but man, I wish we would have gone long at VWAP and all that. So we'll learn our lesson about going short things that are above all of our indicators. So let's go Apple right now. We're making it all back right now on Apple, but it needs to get through these levels though. if we're going to make it all back. So Apple right now, a nice one back to the upside. We did get stopped out. We have to stop ourselves out. We're not going to sit here and bleed our net all the way down. So nice little move there on Apple. We'll start to take some out. We are still net negative on this name. But if we can hold this 50 level and moon a little bit here on Apple, which I don't know, then we should be able to have something. So, all right, Apple right now and Adara now.
What I'm seeing, that push up in Bitcoin might be inspired here by an ex-post by Senator Cynthia Lummis. In case you're unfamiliar with the name, she is a Wyoming senator there for the U.S. Senate, and she also is very bullish on Bitcoin. She's also been at some of that Bitcoin conference in the summer that Trump and Michael Saylor also attended. Anyways, right before the open, she posted big things are coming, but the B had like the little Bitcoin stripes up and down it. So it was a Bitcoin B saying big things are coming, stay tuned for 10 a.m. So I looked it up, and it seems like the 10 a.m., they're in the same time zone here as Eastern, so it could be coming up in 20 minutes. However, Donald Trump is scheduled to speak at 11 a.m. at basically giving an address here to the World Economic Forum in Davos. So it's unclear if the speech he's referring to is going to be that same speech. They appear to be about an hour apart. Regardless, keep an eye on any moves in Bitcoin coming up for the next hour or so. Cynthia Lummis teasing a potential Bitcoin reveal, guys. Back to you.
So very quickly, I'm in tomorrow out of AMD, and I'll show you just not wanting to interrupt or anything like that, but AMD broke down the 122 level, just bounced off of 120.5, which was the next available support level. So there's always a chance it breaks down further here on Advanced Micro Devices, but we got the move we wanted. EA Sports is the other short that we like.
Get in the game.
It's right underneath this 120 again. I don't know what's up with that level too. So try to bounce off VWAP, unable to bounce off VWAP. So still looking for that re-entry point. It looks like it's going to be a continuation play. It was blasting up off of the open. And I figured rather than getting stopped out, let's just take the win off the 120 and look for the next available trade. And oddly enough, haven't got any of the longs that I liked, but we're in tomorrow now when it broke trend. So came back underneath, here, we'll do that. Came back underneath that prior low. So looking for they play kind of like EA, but just in the other direction. Pop up when it gets back underneath prior resistance, put on the short, give it to that theoretical lower high, and see if we can get into VWAP there. So yeah, didn't get the GE long. I'm not in the Apple long. I'm glad you got it. It looks like, where am I? I was trying to pick up 25.
You can get it again. It's
yeah, I think we're about to get it.
I don't know if... I don't want to tell you what to do, but I don't...
Well, right now, it's still holding VWAP. It's still holding that prior high.
Yeah, but the Nasdaq's at the high.
It's GE I'm mad about.
Right, I mean...
GE Electric... Sorry, not GE. I've been trading a long time. GE Aerospace just took out its high of the day, up 9%. We did miss that over-under. It held 200, tried to punch 201s on the way back through. This, I have to look to get back in on VWAP. This is a simple trend follow here on GE. I don't think you missed the boat, but I'm also not buying any highs. Like, what is going on with this
Tesla's
NASDAQ?
tanking.
Like, look at the NASDAQ. Like, seriously, are we doing anything here? Absolutely nothing here on the NASDAQ. So patience required on all of your entry points. I'm chasing nothing while the market's in an indecision point.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say about Apple right here as well. Like, so I'm going to, we got a lot out. I thought it was going to go back to 226, but we'll just, as I was saying, we're not... we just reloaded a small piece there. We only have half of the position that we had on that first break. And we got out of half, and then we just put on a little bit more down there at VWAP again because we want to test it. But the spidey senses are on this trade right now, they're not the greatest for the longs, man. I mean, I just said, NASDAQ just ripped right there. And Apple, it was having problems even trying to go through nothing. There was really not even any size there right now. So if we break, there are two more pennies, we're gone. Breaking through 90, and that is it for Apple. We'll hang it up, and we'll call it an L. I mean, we made back, so it's fine, but it will be a loss. A loss is a loss, and that's what it is there for Apple if we break too much lower than where we are right now. Give this another 10 cents, and we're out. The stop order is in. So as soon as I went long there, at 225 break, I immediately put the stop order in for about 11 or 12 cents lower, right? And so that's where we're at right now with that one. Nice little reload if it works, but Apple definitely weaker than the rest of them, it seems like, but potentially not weaker than Tesla is at this moment. Tesla,
yuck.
As if we just said 420 would be the level that we'd want to short. And then we didn't pay attention. Again, can't look at everything, but Apple falling down kind of cost us this. Like Apple ripped up to that 226. We got really excited. We should have decided to fade the 220 instead of look for something in Apple. But again, nice move down. So now you got to say like, all right, if we called 420, okay, there it goes. Apple's just got out. Does that make any sense as a trade up here again?
No, it's at 20. It's still holding.
Okay, yeah, it looks like it must have flooded. Well, we would be out anyways in a matter of seconds. So let me just see what winds up happening here. Maybe it didn't flush out there. We can get back long, but okay. Anyways, we did get, okay, there it goes. We did get stopped out of Apple. So let's hang up our skates right now on Apple. Couple longs not working out. Red name there for me on Apple, but took another dollar there. It doesn't really matter. Or sorry, not. We took 20s as AAL coming to the downside. See, I don't want to get stubborn. This is how I lose. Like I keep going back over to Apple. So let's.
How is this already back?
Try to find something else.
So we just got out of. I'm going to go to Mara in a second, but wow, AMD.
It's NVIDIA.
So I just had the reload off the high on Mara. So we pushed down and broke trend, scalp into VWAP, wait till it gets back up to the top to retest, but then right back through. So Mara is on a bit of a churn. Got to be able to get away from that stock. And then AMD. That was a bit of a wild reversal as well. We keep talking about patience. Like it just got to that 122 again, and now it's starting to do a little bit of a curl. But that's a heck of a V-shaped recovery. When it did the double bottom, I think that's an easy revert out. But I don't want to fight those. Like EA and AMD were both very, very quick, easier trades to work. What I see the difference here with EA is holding underneath VWAP, holding underneath 120. This feels better for a reload into the short than AMD does, at least at the current moment. So patience there. Look, as far as GE goes, I'm going to have to be very, very patient trying to catch that bid. It's a high flyer as we speak. But let's go back to Adara at the desk.
To be aware of here, super calm, SCPB, this one here with a 1.82 million share float, 19% short float, actually has a catalyst as well today, saying that they've issued about 100,000 shares here at $43.07 per share, which is a significant market premium. The goal is to pay about $4.37 million of debt. So SPCB, again, the share issuance catalyst combined with a 1.82 million share float and almost 20% short float. There's also NITO, N2 off. This one, much like SPCB has run in the past, does have a float of around 4 million shares, 6.5% short float, announcing that it's going to be collaborating here with Solterra to exclusively co-develop some of this solar market in Albania. So keep an eye here in NITO. Last but not least, HIMX I'm seeing running as well. HIMX Technologies got a bit of a run yesterday as well. It was mentioned in a post from supply analyst Ming Chi Kuo. So keep an eye on some of these tickers. Lots of small caps on the move today. Just to be aware, there's no economic data coming at 10 a.m., but there is going to be a speech from Donald Trump at 11, guys.
All right.
That update was neato, Adara. Appreciate that. See, every now, I can do terrible puns all day, every day. No, that, Sharif, don't even try. The whole point is that it's a bad pun. So, look, MSTR is going wild. Bitcoin's going absolutely wild. The next trade, it looks like, because I don't know if I'm going to get BA, I'm watching Apple here bouncing. I'm looking at this EA underneath the 120 level. So it's going to get a stop order before I even get filled. On a stock like EA, the short sell restricted, I want to have my stop before I get into position above that 120 level. And wow, are you kidding me? MSTR, when Bitcoin goes up, this goes ham. So now 2.6 to the upside. This is why we're out of Mara, because of all of this strength. So stopped out there. Now it's at the 20 level. It's got to do another mean reversion and maybe try to catch it a little bit tighter instead of the falling knife. So obviously crypto now back over 105. Yeah, I'd say this is a bullish bounce off 100,000. I don't think that's going out on any kind of a limb. So for now, Apple just pulled back into pre-market support. It's not at 223, but I might take a shot before it gets to 223 on AAPL. So AMD filled and not EA. That's interesting. So I'm looking for this middle mean reversion here, a bit of a bottoming tail candle for an entry point on Apple. Just want to try to catch it on an upswing here as it tries to come back.
All right. Yeah, good look on Apple. I tried it already. I'm going to just try to follow my rules. Like I was looking for Apple for 223. So we just got excited there as it just went crazy. And I was like, okay, maybe the market's going. All right. So let's go over to a name that, again, all right, above the 200, above the 50, above VWAP. We're going to try NVIDIA. We came real close to getting a lot of shares down at this 50-period moving average, trying to give it to VWAP, and it just missed us. So we put our order now at 80 to see if we can get it. Our average price right now is fine. We're 15, 20 cents now in the money. We're long at 17s right now. So it's working out for there it goes. Okay, right back to the highs. So we get some more out as NVIDIA comes right back up to the highs of the day right now into 145 and change, trying to break. Let's go, NVIDIA. Like, wake up and let's get this like show on the road a little bit here right now. So if NVIDIA can go, that'd be a good trade, and we'll have some better feels right there. Good trade there for AAL, man. We sat there and got more out. We now have about 12% left or so of American Airlines. Again, good trade alert. Started early. We should have got... You know, there was really no reload spot for me on this. I mean, if you're going to reload it, it was probably right around here, 1750, and we were just trying to build up other bigger positions. So we're kind of out of AAL right now, and I'm not too much looking forward to getting back in. I like to trade the 50-period moving average as an out. So let's just do that right now, as we don't have any other offers on AAL. So 17, like I'm not going to average into it. So 17, let's just say 61s. If it gets back to the upside, we'll take 40 cents and make sure we get out of the rest of them in and around that area. So that's going to be the stop at the 50-period or so for American. It's really at 50s. You can be a little bit more generous with your stop if you want. And then NVIDIA having a problem at the high. Let me take out another piece here at 37. There we go. We get it. And we just added liquidity. So you're going to see a lot of ins and outs for me. But like I just got paid to make that trade. So there's adding and removing liquidity, a very, very important part. I don't know, man. I'm getting tempted. I know you're into Apple right at these prices. But this could be, again, a great long breaking through VWAP back to the upside there.
Not until it bounces.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It needs to bounce first. So through 225 and change. We're dug into the long right now with NVIDIA, but I don't mind that Apple. But I agree with you, man. The market in the chat there looks a little weak to me.
I sometimes hate EA. No, I hate SSR names. And I think, you know, one of the things that we have an advantage of at real trading is access to a lot of different gateways and different dark pools. And I feel like sometimes with these stocks with a bit more spread, when the uptick rule is in effect, maybe trying to get in on a non-standard gateway, something that sweeps the dark pools, will get a better chance of getting filled. Because what happens here, just come to EA for a second, because it can be frustrating. What can happen here is you can't hit the bid, but there is a bit of a spread, and you try to cut the spread to get a short underneath VWAP, and then you just can't get filled, and then like, how far are you going to chase it? Like, if you want to stop out at 120 and a half or so, like, am I chasing it to 118.50? No. Am I chasing it to 118.70? No. I want the price above 119. So it's so a little bit. It's frustrating, and it's a little bit of a miss there for myself. It's easy to get filled when it's like popping up and squeezing against you, but you can't really get that fill on the way down on EA. So a bit of a missed opportunity for me. I did jump into Apple, but I got to quickly go over to AMD because I saw in the chat. So almost still in the short. There's a topping tail candle on AMD. I don't love that it's holding VWAP, but it did take that reload at 122, bounce all the way to the quarters, but right back under. So this still feels like it's setting up for that short entry. And then Apple, which we did get, that's trying to bounce into VWAP. The second it gets to VWAP, there's offers there. Like 225 and a quarter, like instantly you've got offers in front of VWAP. For now, it's holding on for dear life, and still no pullback into VWAP on GE. So GE Aerospace up 10% on earnings. It was the only name that reported that didn't have a disaster on it, and looking pretty good here. Market's not doing much, but they're holding green very, very well.
What's up, Randy? Hope you are doing well. I feel like it's pretty cold where we are right now.
I would agree with that.
Randy, did you ask if we wanted another coffee? I don't know if you did or not. Okay, just real quick. We did get back into IBIT here. Nice move. I wanted to use prior bar on 5 minute. We had a huge move up, so I was going to give this to 60.50 there. So a nice little move back in for IBIT, and we just shorted it. So now we'll see if we can get back in. We did short it earlier. We had a monster move up in crypto, Randy. We went from 102 basically to 106, almost in a straight line. So that was a good move there for IBIT. We'll fade the move now and see if we can get it. NVIDIA goes all the way up into 60s and 70s. It was just there, and we just took another piece out. But if I think the market is weak, then let's take another piece out right there. And we just did at 51s now on NVIDIA. So hopefully this will continue to rip up right here. We're hearing in our ear about GameStop. Of course, Randy, one of your favorite stores. GameStop now up 3% as we continue to push a little bit higher on GME as Roaring Kitty, again, I don't know if you saw Randy, but tweeted something out about Futurama, a dog, and all this kind of stuff. That's why we talked about Clyde, and that's why we talked about Chewy and whatnot. But
Like, why
at
wouldn't
the end of
Chewy
the day,
go up?
GameStop right now trying to get above $30. I think that would be nice if that can happen. But I got a little bit of bigger fish.
That
to
annoys
fry.
me.
Go ahead, Neil. Yeah.
Well, he tweeted about a dog. It's a
I
picture of a dog. Like, why wouldn't Chewy go? Why GameStop? It doesn't have to. It doesn't even make any logical sense this time. Like, people are trying to decipher it. Like, I'm thinking, oh, Chewy's got to be the breakout because he tweeted about a dog and it's got overhead at 38, and Chewy does absolutely nothing and GameStop goes. So forget about logic in this one.
Wait a minute, forget about logic with Roaring Kitty?
I'm just going to stay away from those altogether. It's just
Pull back.
kind of silly. Yeah, it is getting a little bit chilly on the markets here as the markets are pulling back. Apple finally just got through VWAP, so I'd like the fact that when the market pulls back a little bit, it's going up. Usually that means something is dragging us, and made me look at Tesla at VWAP here. Tesla actually got back to 420 and right 419 and a half and pulling right back into it. So it's not the culprit. Apple, I said, looking good.
Crypto. People are just switching their plays. They're moving from crypto over to
sense.
buy
makes
NASDAQ names. I feel like, and Apple's a great call. I mean, I should have been back into that. We were waiting for that play. Good look there on that. IBIT just pulled back. Look, I mean, crypto's probably just taking a break, so we're going to get out of more and more. We're still holding 2/3 of this, but good outs for us into some of that little jump-off spot there. And that I am bidding more down here at 70. Or I was, 59.79 I'm bidding. And we must have just, how did we miss that? We must have just missed that, okay. But anyways, that sucks. All right, so we just missed an out there on IBIT. So remember, we're getting out if we break that local high. Just thinking that, hey, we've had a huge move to the upside right there. You're at some good levels, and let's just see if it holds. We do have Trump coming in an hour, so that could be a problem for this short. But that's an hour, so we don't have to worry too much about that one. All right, so yeah, IBIT going upside downside. NVIDIA trying to hold up. We've been getting some more outs right here. Again, obviously a green stock for us. We don't have any outs lower than any of our bids, but we are trying to support this like 144.80 area. If we do break it, then we got to think about getting out. So right now, not a great look for NVIDIA, other than the fact that it's been going up, but stalling for sure. Look at this market pulling back in. That 22,000 level again, like I know we still got to go back up here, but fading off of 21.9 right now and pulling back in. I don't know. I could see these lows coming again at some point. Okay. So yeah, our position boards will get updated there in a minute once they're fixed. So right now, position board down, but we're short on IBIT, and there's the cover that we needed. That was a big cover for us right there. So we get that cover. We needed that to get us back in the pocket here with IBIT. So far so good. NVIDIA's coming back in right now.
Yeah, the market's coming back in pretty. Oh, that's right. The position board's not working. Mara got right back. We took it out when it broke 1985. I actually didn't short it off the 20 level because it was screaming to the upside, but it just now put in, so there's yesterday's high. It just put in this candle at the 20 level, so 20.05. So it's got a bit of a lower high to work off of. I can obviously, I can look at Bitcoin's price and I can hear Sean to know that IBIT is coming to the downside as well. So we're back in tomorrow. This has nothing to do with VWAP. It has to do with yesterday's high and now this 20 over under. We'll make sure we have our stop in there and then move on. I cannot get away from GE. Got to be able to respect it. It's now creeping back into VWAP. So this little support here at 204 sits there, and I think the 203 level might be its own trade. Obviously, I can't worry about the 200. Might have to be a couple of swings at GE. If it gets under VWAP, I'm going to take the 200 for sure. But you just bounced off this local bottom at the 204 level. As long as the market doesn't tank in the next couple of minutes, get a little rounded bottom, a little higher low, and I want to get into GE for the first time. So the only longs we've really had is, actually I haven't had GE. Well, I just been looking to get GE. The only long I've had is Apple, which we just tried. See this candle at VWAP? Like it rejected, came under, it bounced clean off 224.70. I'm like, okay, let's try to get this one back through 70. Didn't get the fill, but I'll still reload this price and just keep it a tight stop underneath 224.6. Apple holding up, but only barely, let's just say. And that DGNX, by the way, that stock is insane, everybody. Just be careful. It's like a halt fest.
So it happened to us again. I mean, hopefully NVIDIA will. I mean, I want NVIDIA to hang out upside, but we just missed our bid again by like 5 pennies. We were bidding at 144.85, and it went down to 144.90 or maybe even 89s there. I was watching and thinking I was going to get the fill. So we're still there, just in case you guys need that update. This position board is getting worked on as we speak. Okay, more downside right now, bang. And again, not celebrating. I know a lot of you guys, we're celebrating the trade because, you know, we slapped a fail when we went short IBIT early. Okay, so right now we get some out. It is coming back in. It's a nice trade there for IBIT. AAL, we took that dollar again. We're short at 18s. We took another 17 here. We'll see if it can go lower. I have no more bids. Our best bid was right off the jump, right there at 930, and we were able to get that level. So what else we want to look at? I'm getting a little bit of a note here on Google. Wow, $200. Okay, so Google with a nice move now. Green on the day, which is surprising considering what the NASDAQ has been doing, but noticing here that Google's already pulled back. So I don't know if you want to get long again, similar to that Apple play, and maybe until we can take out the highs again, but building a base down here is Google, a strong name that if you're looking to go long on a name right now, Google, the fact that it's up in a red market could be the one. I want to check back on Amazon though, because I think this is also important, but
almost
down more than the market, Amazon right now. So maybe Google might, I don't know about what AMD is doing, but right now NVIDIA,
chips
again,
are strong.
like screw you NVIDIA, honestly. I mean, I don't know, maybe those are too harsh words, but we just missed that reload there and we could have really put something on the board there. That's too bad. Okay, well, whatever, man. It's going to be a big stock for me. Really happy with that NVIDIA, but that just came right in and sometimes you miss those fills. You know, you guys have all had that, especially those of you trading options or anything like that. You know, you'll put a penny or two and just miss it, and then it will rip up. So whatever, we're not going to cry over spilled milk. But that was a good idea, trying to get the reload. We just did not get it in enough. We're going to go to Adara. I just want to talk just really quickly, Andre. That level was 60 there on IBIT that it bounced off of. So I am going to put another bid there just in case it comes back. So, all right, that's covering that one. NVIDIA touching highs of day as we speak right now, Adara.
SPY red on the day here, but trying to have a little bit of an uptrend, pushing back to the upside. The Q is a little bit more range bound. This actually looks a little bit more bear flaggish, that push to the downside, and then a fairly stagnant trend. So SPY outperforming the Qs. Very contrary to yesterday's performance. We do have here, of course, Donald Trump on watch, still the first week of his presidency after his inauguration. So with that in mind, definitely keep an eye on crypto. Senator Cynthia Lummis, who is a crypto bull, also teased an exciting announcement coming up. We know Trump is set to speak at 11 a.m. at the World Economic Forum, so that will absolutely be on watch. EA also on watch here to the downside, basically releasing much worse than expected preliminary Q3 2025 revenue and bookings. We also have here GE Aerospace, this one, an earnings name actually to the upside, basically guiding a little bit lower than expected on the lower end of their EPS guidance, but they did beat on sales and EPS. American Airlines, however, was a bit more of a miss. Their guidance was a bit weaker than expected, though they did beat on adjusted earnings and sales here, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much there, Adara. And just a quick look here. We did get into Boeing at 05. It just did this little bit of a curl. We were looking for it to hold at 204, so we closed above, entered when it kind of broke this prior bar high in here, kind of hard to see, but prior bar high here just above 205. We got in at 20s. We'll stop underneath there on GE. Mara is right back. Bitcoin's at 105.5, so there's been a pretty big, hefty move in on Bitcoin. We're shorting it, obviously, in front of VWAP, which we don't always do, but want to respect that prior day high that it's wicked a couple of times in here. I haven't reloaded Apple yet. I'm still looking to catch this at 224. Thanks, Randy. 224.80s. Actually, it might just sneak this a little bit higher. The only problem is VWAP. Like, it's the rejection at VWAP is the thing that's getting me. Usually you want to see it hold on to VWAP, so I might be even a little bit more patient. Got that one on the way up, but you're still making lower highs and higher lows, forming a bit of a wedge pattern, which might require a little bit more patience with this particular name. And then EA Sports, it's basically the same story. I say EA Sports like it's not EA Electronic Arts or whatever whatever it really should be. You just can't seem to pick this up unless you take it against you on the short side of the trade. So the next available pop, I'm just going to sit on the offer in front of VWAP and get swept up and have a stop order protecting me because I wasn't able to get in on the last test when it wicked 119. wasn't able to catch that fill. So we'll try to just sit there out in front of VWAP, and the next time it bounces, I'll short the pop. Ideally, it's done doing these kind of moves to the upside where it rips $5 on you, so it's a little bit more calm here on EA. Earnings name to the downside, much like AAL.
Yeah, just much like many of these names right now. I just got to make sure I have the right stop orders out, and I do. But Andre, let's hit it. Not yet. Okay, we are working on our position board, so hopefully that will get corrected, and you'll be able to see what we're in. But right now we're in AAL to the short side. That's been a good trade, obviously. There, bouncing off VWAP was a great short to reload. We talked about the VWAP short reload right there at 40s, and then again at 20s. There, so nice move downside right into the low of the day again for AA to the L. All right, man, sometimes you wish upon a shooting star, and that would be upside. But right now we have a falling star, and it's NVIDIA. So, yeah, we take a little bit of a fill there. We're going to wait for just a little bit lower into where VWAP potentially is right here, 75, 76s. We're going to see if we can get a fill. I'm at 85 right now, so... there it is, so 86s, sorry. So there's the fill there. Now we're going to wait. If it drops below too much more than where we are right now, into the 60s and the 70s, then we're going to drop out of that one. So a nice little bump now on the name. We do have some shares, so we can get something out, as our average price is 91s now. So we'll get something out here at 99s if we're able to. There, we got a 96 there. Not a great fill, but not also NVIDIA not doing what we thought it would. I didn't realize my average price was 91. We should have got some out there north of 144, north of 145. So we'll see if we could do that there. But yeah, right here, resting on the fact that NVIDIA tries to hold this bid now. The market's getting... I mean, we had that opinion early that there wasn't much happening when we had that jobs number come out there, the claims, and then all of a sudden it just like sort of touched the highs there, came back in, didn't really make anything at the top. And then, when we were up here, we said we'll probably retest this bottom again. So the fact is that we're in now to NVIDIA. We're into some of these longs now, and we're short Bitcoin, which is actually going back up. So that's not working out for us, but we'll try it into these pre-market lows now on NVIDIA. Let's get something out just in case we do break those lows. If we can grab a dime on this, remember our risk is a break of 60. So it's kind of like we're long at 90s now, break of 60s, 30 cents. So we'd like to get this thing back above 145 in order to really make this a profitable trade. But for right now, let's rest and see and not panic out of this. Maybe the futures are having that bouncing moment right now, but that's a maybe.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. So, look, EA just got to the low before it got to VWAP, so I'm not moving the target just yet. I still think maybe we can get a pop and get something in front of this VWAP, but obviously this one continues to crater. It's not going to care what the market does. It can move down on its own and it can continue on its own. So just going to look for maybe a lower high here. If I see it pop and do any of these topping tail wicks, I might try the 118 instead of the 190. But for now, I'm still sitting on the offer of EA. I haven't really changed my opinion there. All right, what are you doing over here?
Go.
Let's go, Apple. Apple's starting to...
Oh.
market's starting to bounce. Apple's now got a pretty distinct trend over VWAP. I think this one is a grip it and rip it, and I got to get back over... to Amazon in a quick little second, but I believe we need to take care of some business.
Yeah. NVIDIA's absolutely ripping, and if you believe that you are a skilled trader... Are we ready to go, Andre? All right, then roll it, my guy. Right there, if you believe that you are a skilled trader but lacking capital, prop firms offer you the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, allowing you to showcase your skills, access account sizes ranging from $5,000 to over $500,000, and you can start with as little as that $20 bill in your pocket. But with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you know which ones are the best? That's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing, let's go NVIDIA, only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment history is very, very important. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals all in. You got it, one place. Make sure you scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today for the perfect prop firm for you. All right, so there it is. Scan that QR code. And we were getting a little bit excited there because we did have that monster I mean, the trade for me will be great, but it's not really a monster move, is what I was going to say. But it's a monster win right now as we go diamond hands right now on Nvidia. Neil, this is going to be a good one, man. It's that talk. We sort of stuck our neck out there on Nvidia. We talked about what we were looking for there, about a 30 cent or so, much amount of risk. Now we're 40 cents in the money, so let's start getting some out. More out there at 30s, more to go, more to go, more to go. We are working on the position board, so we apologize for that. But right now, IBIT, look at that move back in for IBIT. Something going on with crypto right now as we speak. I mean, this is a nuts move.
Jumping.
All the way up, all the way down for crypto, down to 59. Guys, we are $1. We are $1 in the money right now on crypto. Neil, this is making them sing right here, baby. This is a monster move down for crypto. Oh boy, we're doing it now. $1 on crypto, 50 cents on Nvidia. And yeah, I apologize. I'm getting a little bit excited here as we battle back. Make that cash, baby. That's $1.20 now. $1 in the money on AAL, $1.20 in the money on IBIT, and the hero hold of the day with Nvidia. Position board
Correct.
is now up. It is rocking and rolling. And yes, you are right. Those numbers that you see are accurate right there. $1.25 now in the money on IBIT as it just collapses all over itself. Yes, sir, Neil, we got it, and we got it good right there. IBIT. Woo, Adara, what you got for us, homie?
So it turns out here, I figured out what Cynthia Loomis here, that senator, meant by stay tuned for 10 a.m. It looks like what's happening here is apparently 10 a.m. is when the Senate Banking Committee will be voting on the potential for Senator Loomis to become the chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee. So, of course, she's very bullish for crypto. So if she is voted in, that would be a great look. I have not seen anything as to whether or not this has happened, and it's unclear if there actually will be any announcements to that effect, but just worth noting, apparently that vote is taking place right now. Of course, at 11 a.m., we also have comments from Trump at the World Economic Forum. That's at Davos. We've already had quite a few bank CEOs making comments on crypto. We also had Binance CEO Richard Teng appearing yesterday. So if there were to be a Trump announcement, World Economic Forum might be a good place for it for Bitcoin, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Dare. You'll see I just got out of Apple. Someone stacked it up at 226. It was a nice push off of VWAP.
Oh
so let's look. I like the trend, and I'm going to go back into it on this trend. Right now, that sets up VWAP for sure. If we get back into here, like 225 third, 225 quarter, that's where we want to look for the reload over there on Apple. Obviously, that's fortuitous with BTC. It was we keep forgetting Amazon was a rocket ship yesterday. And it's only now, it's looking a little bit better. The market just bounced. We got a nice higher low here on Amazon. I don't want to give up on this. This is now starting to get above VWAP and look good. And then the last one, before we go back, Palantir regaining VWAP, as that was probably the biggest breakout trade that I saw on most of the things we trade. I like support turning into resistance or resistance turning into support. And that's what Palantir is doing here at 77.20. Sometimes you let things set up, like that Apple trade. Palantir holds VWAP here. Easy stop out underneath this local bottom, 77.15. But yeah, it's trying to hold on to VWAP is PLTR.
All right, guys. Monster move down in IBIT. Obviously, we just catch that 200 period. We are getting lighter and lighter on it as it's there. I just want to say LOL to this dude right here, the FUD farmer right here. Sean needs to chill out when he's not even making anything on Nvidia. Nvidia right now is 10x the next best net stock on the show. So whether or not this move is making any money for you or not, this is why Neil and I, we always talk about our positions. And if you want to know something about, if I'm layering into a stock, I mean, honestly, guys, I told you this was my position. I said the whole day is resting basically on Nvidia trying to hold this level. So we do the work, man. And this is the thing. When you're confident and you have these levels, you get into them. This is how you make money, my guy. Trading little positions and not being confident on them or whatever is one thing if you're learning, but we're here to try to make money. So honestly, if Nvidia is going to go up 80 cents for me, you better believe that it's going to be a pretty decent stock. So again, that's the thing, man. Everybody does their own thing. We always talk about that. And I'm just here to tell you, as we talked about it yesterday, people were calling me the truth. The thing is I'm telling you right now, net-wise, we don't disclose our share size, but it is probably 15 to 20x the next best P&L name here. So it is what it is. I talk like that too when I have the losers. So it's not, this is just, it's a game that we play both ways, because as traders, although we don't put the scoreboard up, I'm just going to try to tell you as best I can on what stocks are doing and how they've been participating in trading, right? So just to give you that update on what's been happening there. And again, like, I want everybody to trade their own plan. And as you guys know, all of us trade many different share sizes. So what might be a great win for somebody is maybe minuscule for others. So just keep that in mind. We don't discuss like what our buying powers are, but if I told you what mine was, then it may change some of those comments. But for right now, IBIT, so NVIDIA right now, we'll do what we keep on doing and spinning that. That's $1 right now. Like, you guys want to talk about trading. We have 3 positions on right now. This is $1 in the money, okay, AAL. IBIT is $1.50 in the money right now. NVIDIA is 95 cents. So we're doing pretty good in and around these levels. So let's just leave it at that. And I want to thank everybody for their comments. Just keep coming back. This is what Neil and I are doing, man. We're doing this every day. And if you're not a believer, then maybe you're a believer for Justin Bieber, one of Adara's favorites.
I don't think anyone talks about him anymore.
Nah, he's kind of old.
My daughter literally said these words at the dinner table yesterday. We're going to go to Darren in a quick little second, but you said Bieber, and I have to mention this.
Yeah.
She said, all the boys in my class like Michael Jackson, and all the girls in the class like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And I'm like, doesn't make any sense, but I'm all for it.
Dude, Taylor Swift is like the most popular artist.
And my daughter doesn't like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, what is wrong with her?
No, she just doesn't like Taylor Swift.
Really? That will change.
It's weird. She likes the songs. She likes them done by Kids Bop.
Oh, so she likes Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah, let's go to Darren in a quick little second. If you don't know what Kids Bop is, then you don't have young kids. If you do, then you know what I'm talking about. We'll get to Palantir in this market in a quick little second. Let's go to Adara first.
We have Apple here and watch AAPL about 1% pushing into today's highs. I was seeing here this article from WCCF Tech. It's been forwarded here on social media, suggesting that apparently Apple has been posting some jobs related to mobile satellite service work. In case you were unaware, it did actually announce that it has a $1.5 billion stake in Globalstar late in 2024. So there is some suggestion here Apple could be moving into the space world. Keep an eye on Globalstar as well here, GSAT, because if Apple's moving into the space area or sphere, it's likely connected there to that Globalstar acquisition, guys. GSAT and AAPL, which just made a new high of day.
Okay, here we go, man. NVIDIA ripping to the north side right now. We're trying to get some more out here of this trade. But again, 146, like, we're just like, okay, we'll take 146. Good move up there. Let's just be what we're being here on this. IBIT is what it is, and AAL is right here as well. So we're going to just continue to watch out and hold out, honestly hope that IBIT will hold these levels. We're pretty light on it. Debating, guys, the reload to the long maybe on IBIT right now. So we are we're not never ever light here on IBIT, but we have about, I don't even know how many shares because I've traded this a couple times. I would say we're probably about 15%, maybe even a little bit less than that on this IBIT. Whenever you go from high of day retracement into the 200 period, it's kind of like not bad. I mean, it's kind of like what's happening right here. If our target's 146 on NVIDIA, then we got to take a bunch out when we get up to that level. And then if it rips up, it's like that ARM trade yesterday. When it went $20, we only had on like we were talking about it the whole way. Can't remember exactly, but we didn't have on that big of a piece. So it's just one of those things that's like, you got to just watch your stock and make sure that you're trading, appropriately at those levels. And to the FUD Farms point, like, you don't want to get, and I didn't even see anything after what I discussed, but just to the initial point, you don't want to get too excited. And I've said that, like, I've completely changed of just chilling out on all of these trades. It's just like, when it works like that and you layer into it and then it just absolutely rips, I mean, it's a great feeling. It puts you over that top, right? But then you don't want to get too excited, because then that's when you'll make keystroke errors, or psychology of trading is obviously such a big thing. Yeah. All right, so that's that. I'm going to regroup again, see if we can find out something. I really did. I mean, Neil nailed that Apple long. I absolutely, I tried it, and it's just like, again, maybe just too many shares and I got out too quickly, but that's the trade. You know, for me is like get in, play it as if we mean it. And if it breaks, we have to get out because I can't, like if this comes all the way down to here, that's like the 20% of my shutdown type of thing. And I'm not willing to risk that on trades. So we're going to have to watch out now. 226 though, great move there for Apple. It is the #1 trade of the day. I don't have it. Neil did, so that was a good one there. We'll wait to see if NVIDIA can pull higher, but it's pulling back on weakness in the market. So good job getting out of the majority of that NVIDIA trade.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to always take the profit, like just sort of stick to your plan of action, whatever that might be. Now, this will be the 4th time I'm into AMD. 1 for 3 on it. Will still be green because the 1 actually got to the low. There was follow through on it, which is always a good sign. But it just, anytime you're trending up like this, if it holds VWAP and it's a clear range to the upside, it's one thing to trade off a level early. But after that, I want to make sure it's mean reverting. So clear trend, higher lows all through the bottom. It clearly broke this trend line underneath here at 123, so I'm shorting it back to the prior bar high, which is 123.03, effectively back into its high of the day on AMD. I know we haven't been going over the small caps, so just very quickly, that DGNX, it's got a bunch of halts. It's actually open for one of the longer periods of time that it's done all morning and holding on to VWAP, so that could be worth a little bit of a watch. So the only new position was AMD, and then just as we were talking about sticking to your plan of action, Palantir, prior high into the low. I'll take the bounce trade. We'll get some out as it goes to VWAP. Next offer is we're actually underneath 78 and then the high of the day, but it breaks the low and I'm out. That stop goes in before I'm even in position, and then I don't have to worry about, making a decision here or there. If it can reclaim it, maybe get above VWAP, yeah, the level's still going to be valid, but want to be able to jump out of the trade when it looks wrong on PLTR. What do we got going on here? Okay, I just saw AMD for a second looked like it was trying to fill up at 123, and that's probably come and gone. So I might have to pick this up. Ideally wanted more shares in the 80 to 90 range and not the 70s, but beggars can't be choosers. I also confirmed this with O because I had to check. I barely looked at ARM, and then I flipped to it when people were screaming about it. It got really close to short sell restricted and 10% down. If that happens at some point today, I'm going to be hunting for an SSR bounce on ARM. That's down 8%. If it ticking 10% would effectively be 161.90 or something into that range. Like 161.90, I think.
So IBIT's ripping. Just quickly, there's probably something about
that vote.
I don't know if we have to go to Dara, but we just got out of more. So we just got some out at 60, then we got out at 80 right now. As like I said, we now have less than 10% left on this trade. Let's see if it wants to work out. NVIDIA did come back in. Let's take a little piece out here as it's now ripping back to the upside. So more outs for NVIDIA, trying to hold the day right there. That Apple still makes me mad, but it's okay. All right, let's go back over to the desk with the Dara.
I think I might have figured out what made that move in crypto. Right as you said that, I saw an alert here. I guess people are saying that Trump is set to sign an executive order at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. People have been waiting for an executive order related to crypto, of course. We have zero idea what this executive order will entail if it occurs, but be aware here, 2:30 p.m. is when it is set to take place. IWM here is in quite the downtrend, consolidating at the lows here around that 227 level. So lots of weakness in the Russell 2000. Though there is actually some strength in some of these small cap runners, including VNCE. This is Vince Holdings here announcing that it's going to be basically getting a major stake in the company acquired by P180. So partial acquisition here for VNCE on watch. Then we have HIMAX, HIMX, up about 17%. They also had a nice little rally yesterday, and this whole move seems to be driven by the fact that Ming-Chi Kuo, noted Apple supply chain analyst, posted on X yesterday, basically suggesting that the company is set to be a nice winner here from this silicon photonics boom from TSM, NVIDIA, and AMD. And last but not least, SES. This company is called SES as well. Trades on the NYSE, secured a AI-powered battery contract valued at roughly $10 million. So SES, HIMX here, and also VNCE on watch, guys. Back to you.
Vince is in the building. VNCE has been an absolute runner. Crazy that it doesn't halt. There's another one, this JUNS is showing a lot of strength. Look, obviously, if there's any executive orders on crypto, that's going to shock the market. You know, when Trump is speaking, one of the fun things about it is you get a little bit more market action when the president talks and moves around, which is great for volatility and for moves as a trader. But you'd have to pay attention knowing when it's going to happen. And if we know there's an event coming, just be a bit of hyper aware of it. Apple doesn't seem to want to pull back after breaking the highs. I'm just going to zoom it out to show you there's plenty of room here for Apple to continue to go. So I think we're patient in the first time. I want to be patient in the second time, because if we really start to ramp, I don't see why you can't test into $228, which is still a ways away here on Apple. So next available dip would be, I think, into the prior high, the opening range high, 226 and a quarter on Apple. Super strong one. EA is, I mean, it's now really starting to barcode. Yeah, I said if it did a curl here at 118 and didn't get into VWAP, I would take my shot on EA here. So I'm just going to try and pick EA up underneath 118. This isn't a VWAP short. This will be shorting it off the 118 level on Electronic Arts. As we said, it's not in the game today, at least not yet. Adrian saying, have a look at Palantir. Yeah, I got Palantir up. It's just closed back above VWAP. So it did the wick. Now see if we can hold VWAP. It's got the downward trend going, which when you have that distinct downward trend, my rule is closing bar above it, right? So the break of the trend, and then you've got to close the bar above, which it's doing right now on the 3 minute. So my rule for getting back into this one, if I'm not in on the wick bottom, where I can give it to the low, then I want to be in on the trend where I can give it to the prior bar, which this prior bar opens 77.30. I'm looking for this to close above, go long off VWAP, and then give it to that stop there on Palantir.
Yeah, so we're in right now. We're in a 15-cent winner on Palantir. I know Neil was just talking about it, but again, everyone will trade a little different. I'm already in. I just bought it right now off VWAP. Like, just as Neil was talking about it, I bought it just before that. So there's the move, and there it is right now. Let's go, man. It's face slapper right there for PLTR. So again, I don't know who that was, Neil, but that was a great look there. You got horse sense, my friend, because there goes Palantir up through 70 again. So we'll take some more out here. If we can get a 72, let's do that. And just getting light on it. I mean, I hope it can rip up there to new highs. If it does, let's just hold on to it and see if we can get there. But at the end of the day, a breakthrough 77 on Palantir, and we are out of there. So we'll have to wait to see what's happening there. All right. We got a gift again, by the way. Bitcoin started ripping there. We got those 80s. It came back and sort of held that VWAP. So now I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be a decent spot to get something out for IBIT, because now it's kind of showing us that this, in and around VWAP here could be a trade where we're going to hold. So I'm going to put something in the teens to see if we get it out. We do have less than 5% now of this IBIT position, so not huge by any stretch, but at the same time, a decent look there for IBIT, hoping that we can go the other way on that one. Okay, so AAL is coming back in. There's the IBIT, Phil, so we'll take it there. Again, that's $1, but it's just off that. And remember what we were doing here before? I just try to focus obviously on what I'm doing, but like when we're talking about giving winners, like my stop here was 20 cents, right? We had we had talked about that. It goes down and gives us $1.80 on 20 cents. So it's like that's kind of the relationship that I'm trying to have with stocks, a better risk to reward there. And we're going to try to do that with all the plays that we have. All right, so here comes Palantir again as well. Trying to break through that 75. So we took some more out. We're only out of 5% right now. Trying to see if it can rip up. We're going to wait, see. It's like it's not going. I don't know if that size is something. Let's put another little piece up there in the mid 70s again. Let's go. Blast through 72. We're waiting at 72. Hopefully we can get a fill. There it is. It goes through. Now we've got to get through this 75 level. There it is. We're at 78. Bang, 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 and Neil Moore coming through right now as there goes Palantir. It's a 30-cent win on this name as it goes higher. Let's see if we can get back into these levels. We'll always take something out at 78, but what is that exact high right there? 77, 97. So let's go here. Let's take out some more 85s. We still have a spot on here. This is not like we're just getting out of everything. We're definitely trying to hold on to that. We're going to get out another 5% here. Every out is going to be about 5%. So we have like 80% left. Let's see if Palantir can go. Our next out is right here at 85. Thanks for bringing it up in the chat. I'm glad that you did that. I know Neil looked at it, and then it went right over to me, and I'm like, I'm long. So there is the long that at 50s. Let's see if it goes. Trying to have a problem here in and around 80s. Go! Great through that 85, my guy. All right, we'll punch a little bit out there at 82s. Now we'll wait for some 85s to get that going. AAL also at the bottom of the day. Let's get to the downside there. I'm going to put a bid here, see if we can capture that. It's right at the lows, so we might as well do it. And then NVIDIA is just the dream that has faded because we're now out.
Apple's falling.
Apple's falling, yeah.
Big.
Okay, so, all right, maybe let's go over to Apple then because right now NVIDIA, I don't have too much to say about it. I mean, we've already gotten out of it all, so we have about 10%. We have about 15% left. The reload, if anything, if it drops through this 144.70 area, we're out. So we're getting close to getting out of NVIDIA. I'll reload it one more time, but that's it. So NVIDIA a little sketchy right now.
Yeah, and it's not that it's sketchy, but Apple just dropped the buck and is coming in to view up pretty distinctly. The reversion on AMD is still sitting. I mean, it's got in the money 5 cents, maybe 10 at the most. Out of the money 5, maybe 10 at the most. So it's still doing its same thing. EA, I just took some out in front of the even dollars, so got like 60 pennies on the first look. The low of the day is at 116, but try to focus on what's next. And Apple at VWAP is a bit of a, I'd say, priority. It's trying to hold on to the trend. First things first, like it could still manage to hold this trend line, although it's not really feeling like it. So either we get into VWAP and bounce, or we wait for it to hold on to that trend line here on Apple. So that feels like it's going to be the next thing. EA just pulled right back in. Looks like it wants to hunt this low. Here, let's do this, because I actually didn't show you guys this on the daily chart. If you go all the way out on EA and just zoom way out here, you'll find this low in March. Essentially, like you got some wicks down here, but you've got like 108 as that low. There's nothing in terms of supply zones or support until you get to that 108. And then the top of the range when it bounced off of it was about here, 115, 116. So this bottom channel in like 2023, which is the last time EA was this bad, you are setting up right in front of it. So scalping into that low makes some sense. This is not the short off 122. This isn't even the short off of VWAP. You're shorter close to the low of the day on EA as that one continues to bleed. AMD, we now have it. Ideally wanted to get an average price in the 80 range here. Wasn't able to accomplish that. So effectively, it's still going to be the same trade, just with a bit of a tighter stop. I was giving it above this wick, but I'm going to go with the prior bar here. So prior bar high, which is 122.95 on AMD. So basically, like, let it work faster with a tighter range because it's showing me the consolidation range. So instead of giving it to the high, just give it to these closes on the bar, stick within the rules, and then a pull back into VWAP. As we go to Adara, good time for a crypto update. It's been all over the place, Bitcoin today. All over the place.
Nothing short of crypto chaos here. I actually have the 15-minute chart up so you guys can see just the immense amount of volume and directional changes that we've seen in crypto. Why is this happening, you may ask? Well, part of it does have to do with Donald Trump here taking the stage at the World Economic Forum in half an hour. That's right, he is set to speak at 11 a.m. Eastern. However, Senator Cynthia Loomis of Wyoming added some fun crypto zest here as well, basically tweeting, big things are coming at 10 a.m. using the Bitcoin symbol for the letter B. People assumed that maybe she had the time wrong. It was potentially Trump-related from what I was seeing online. Actually, though, it was a vote as to whether or not she should be the new head of the Senate's subcommittee for digital assets. It's unclear what the results of that vote were, and I haven't seen any other announcements, but that's definitely on watch. Keep an eye there on Cynthia Loomis. But in terms of other Bitcoin-related moves, we did also have this other most recent push to the upside around 10:15. That is when we actually had some things circulating around here that Trump is set to sign an executive order that will be taking place at 2:30 Eastern. Now, does that have to do with crypto? We don't know, but we know people are waiting on the crypto executive order, so anything that suggests something of that nature will lead to some excitement. Be very careful if you're involved in crypto or any adjacent tickers today, guys. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, basically flat on the day after all of that hubbub. Up about, we're currently hanging out around that 104 halves area. Ethereum down on the day, though, and pretty much everything is following Ethereum. Solana down about 3.5%. Dogecoin down about 3%. Cardano down about 1%. So be very careful in the crypto space, especially if you're trading Bitcoin. Should be tons of volatility, guys. Back to you.
Let's go. Thank you, Adara, for that update. You come back to just a barrage of all of this. There it goes, Neil. I'm glad that you guys talked about that, man. There's Palantir. Nice move to the upside. What a play, man. We just tweeted it at Brian Shannon. Hey, man, there's one thing about actually talking about trading off VWAP and making those plays. There's another thing of putting them on. So we'll say what's up to Alpha Trends right there on VWAP. Our good friend Brian Shannon right there, all about VWAP. And there it is right there. Nice take on it. Bounces through it, holds it. We go long. And now it's even higher, of course, than where we had tweeted it out at. But there it goes. Nice move up on that side. And then, yeah, man, we get a little aggressive with NVIDIA because, again, if you're going to sit here and trade and believe in something, let's just believe in it. So there goes NVIDIA. There's the reload at 145. There's another 50-cent winner. So, again, like we talked about this with the FUD farmer and so on and so forth. It's just like, this is what that's another 50 cents right there on that reload. Right? Like these are reloaded positions right there back up to the upside. So it's just taking dollars and dollars on these every time, even though it's not moving a dollar. So hopefully we can get back up to the upside. My next offer right now is in the 60s. So far so good here with that NVIDIA, just really holding the fort. More outs. We talked about VWAP, so we're getting more outs here on IBIT. Again, bad trade early, good trade late. And then really, for me, Apple might be at a reloaded spot right now. We are very, very long the market. We're long on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is really, Neil, starting to go, man. This is going to be a good stock. And then even just this, again, we talk about P&Ls and all that. Like Palantir right here is now P&L number 2. And we had just put that on. So there you go, man. Like not a bad opportunity here for PLTR. Let's just see what winds up happening up into 78, 78.50. So yeah, Palantir trying to go for us. Nice trade to the long side so far in the market as it goes right back up to highs. Might be a fade spot.
Palantir was strong all morning long. I don't know. Like it was the first stock to pop off and really break out that I saw. I mean, even Apple, which is so strong in a general sense, I don't know if it was as parabolic. The Apple's at VWAP, you already mentioned it, so we were waiting for either the trend to hold, didn't, or bounce off VWAP. But then similar thing on a reversion here in AMD. Like the second NVIDIA bounced off of VWAP in there, AMD pulled right back into prior resistance level, and it bounces. So take an even right here. So took a couple of legs out, tighten the stop into this prior bar high, which is now like 89. So if we break this or like 122.90, this is a little bit of a downward trend that it just put in. Either that takes us to VWAP or it breaks it back out and we've scalped out and then we'll walk away from AMD a second time. Actually, not a second time. Yeah, technically a second time because the first time we were all out at the bottom and then a couple of times we got some profit and then stopped out, which is fine, but you've got to know when to get out of dodge at times on these names. Not always is it going to just go instantly in the money for you and then continue to work. So Apple off of VWAP, it just did. So there's your bounce off VWAP. Pretty much to a T, this bounced off VWAP. And let's see if we can get the continuation on AAPL. Sean Neal in the chat. That's a good way to get attention. Literally, the name Sean Neal in the chat saying Netflix on auto. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm going to assume that means it's going a little bit ham to the upside. Okay, well, that assumption would be correct. Now Netflix decides to remember that it blew things away. And yeah, blasting to the upside is Netflix. Still under 1,000 though. Remember yesterday? Like yesterday, it lost 1,000 instantly at the open, then see that lower high. So it's probably going to run into a little bit of resistance psychologically. You know, 990 and 1,000 are going to be big levels there for Netflix. But yeah, good look. This one's absolutely blasting. Sometimes just has to settle down a day.
All right, we want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity right now immediately to scan that QR code that you see on our screen. That's going to get you access to eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade your trading experience to an elite one. You want to be able to have reliability on your platform. eSignal with connection to over 50 plus brokers, extremely easy to use. You are right about those world-class charts. I've been using these for over 22 years. You can analyze, strategize, capitalize, foresee profitable opportunities with your own needs. The back testing is unbelievable. Tick charts, everything you could hope for with eSignal. And the best part about it for me is its reliability. It's been up for like if it goes down, then I'm having internet problems, right? I mean, that's something that's very, very important for all of us. They're charting that has truly changed the game. I love this feature right here on the screen. It's all about the scanners. I mean, I'll pull one up for you after this. I use them live on the air all the time to find out what stocks are pumping the volume, where we're going, what's at 52-week highs, what's at VWAP. You can customize with eSignal, super easy and entitlement based. You can look at many different markets worldwide through their entitlement system. So I really like eSignal, extremely reliable. Upgrade your trading experience with the best charts in the game. It's eSignal. Scan that QR code. Trade smarter, not harder. Thank you, eSignal, one more time for that. And I mean, like, here it is. Like, this is something that I use right now. This is the trade rate indicator, and it's just going to show me which stocks are really starting to go through volume right now, and they're not always going to be the ones that you expect. So watch out for that. It's pretty important. There it is, changing right there on the fly, updating, giving you all the names that are moving right, in one easy place. So for me and for you that are going back and forth with everything, obviously that's something that's pretty important there. All right, Palantir, more outs at 70s there. That's a good one. And here we go again. It is our boy here, NVIDIA, starting to get excited again, up to 146. We were waiting at 146. Let's put something now in the 70s and in the 80s. Get us those 79s. There it is. Yes, sir. That's a good trade and a good reload there on NVIDIA. And just one thing here, I just wanted to say here, because I talked to you earlier, the FUD farm. Sean, I love you so much. I love you too, FUD Farm. And I'm just glad that, you're putting in topics, we're talking about them, and it's really encouraging to get that back and forth, right? I mean, it's just like some trades, like Neil went over to Palantir, talked about it, didn't really like the levels, was waiting for something a little lower. I was like, nah, we'll take it. Different styles for everybody. So that's why FUD Farm, it's very important that we talk about that and you wonder why I get excited when something goes $1 in the money, right? So now we can help explain that. And I'm gonna get excited again in a minute because here comes 146 on NVIDIA. Again, on the list here. I'm just upset about Apple, but I'm glad we're able to trade it for you, and there's some winners on board with Apple. So, I mean, it's been a great day, lots of opportunities. It's 10:40. I mean, we're getting a little bit long in the tooth here. The midday show is getting ready to rock and roll as they always do. So get ready for Joe and Sharif to impress you all with their intense stock market knowledge. Was that good, Joe? That was good, okay. All right, let's go now over to the desk with Adara.
We're actually here at the screen taking a look at some of these sectors, which, much like the market, are pretty mixed today. Electronic technology, quite a few red names, though. Apple pushing to the upside after a couple weekdays over the last 2 weeks or so. Then we have electronic technology, Google, Meta, Oracle looking strong here. All three names continuation from yesterday. Netflix sharply to the upside as well on day 2 earnings, but Microsoft pulling back after quite the rally yesterday on that Project Stargate announcement in which it was implicated. Finance pretty mixed, retail trade pretty mixed, producer manufacturing pretty mixed, but there's a lot of names here that are sharply red. And then health technology is a little bit of a mixed look as well. We do have some strength though in commercial services, energy minerals, and health services. So super mixed picture across the board. It's really hard to find even any sectors that are giving you clear signals, let alone this market as a whole, guys. Back to you.
So a sector that's a portion of a sector that's going absolutely nuts. Vistra is going crazy right now, 3 days in a row. Constellation is going crazy right now. GE Verona, I know GE is the one that had earnings, but GE Verona is up a couple of points today. These charts, I was just mentioning this to Sean. Like, these are absolutely nuts. GEV and then Constellation Energy. This is that one on the daily, and then VST. Like, if you're not paying attention to something, maybe Vistra's not as on the daily, it's not as strong, but it's the one that's up 5%, like an absolute rocket ship to the upside. I just wanted to be able to show you guys that very quickly before we went back over to what we are actually trading. So, like, Apple's going to be a weird one in that it never really presented itself. Heck, it never dipped into the prior highs. Yesterday's highs, this 223, it just never happened. And then it just started respecting, dip into this low, wait for the confirmation candle, dip into VWAP, get it the second time through VWAP, but it can still put in a lower high here. I want to be able to respect that. Let's see about, it's Amazon that I've ignored all morning. And now it looks distinctly different. Amazon, bit of a tank is not the right, yeah, it is the right word. Bit of a tank this morning, now coming right back into yesterday's all-time high. If this can, I don't want it getting back into VWAP. Ideally, I think that's a pretty hefty pullback. But if it could hold on to trend in front of VWAP, I think this is worth some continuation plays into the upside before it breaks an all-time high on Amazon. I'm willing to take in an all-time high break, but I'd rather find a dip trade that makes sense before we get there. And then an update on EA. I'm not holding this trade into VWAP. I think I said that before. If we're not shorting it, we liked VWAP. We could have got it. We liked 122 short. But if I can't get it at VWAP, I'm not holding a 117.70 trade all the way up to 119. This is an SSR stock, meaning it's short sell restricted, and the bounces can be very, very nasty when they catch a bid. So I'll let this one get to VWAP. That last trade will be closer to flat than anything else. We took some profit out, but then we had a break-even stop on EA. We'll let this get to VWAP. The original plan was to short it off of VWAP like we did right in here on EA Sports. And Chris L., you're absolutely right. Caterpillar is bulldozing the Bears. I wish I had thought of that pun myself. I love Caterpillar. It's one of my bigger holdings in the personal account. Actually, I think it's my second biggest non-tech holding that isn't an index is Caterpillar. Technically, it's still Eli Lilly, even though I've sold a couple times, is number one non-tech holding. But Caterpillar is bulldozing everybody. And the infrastructure spend, it ain't going anywhere. Someone's got to build these data centers.
I really only own tech names. So yeah, I don't actually own Caterpillar, wish I did. All right, so NVIDIA, again, just bouncing off of 146. It came up here, that's now 3 times basically. So we're starting to empty the clip, and it was a good one because a couple times. All right, Palantir, same thing. It's bouncing its head off 78, so we're getting some more out here. We talked about sort of the risk and reward on this one. It's here now. So the reward is here, so let's take it out so we don't risk. That's a good play. If it comes up to 78.20, that's been our best out, is like 78.15. I'm going to wait for 78.20 and then possibly the high there, as Palantir is basically tomorrow away from all-time highs. So we'll wait to see if that can happen for them. There goes, look, yesterday you mentioned about, and again, we'll talk about all these different things. Yesterday, the all-time high was 233 on Amazon. We punched that one, and that was a banger to the long one. That broke yesterday on Amazon. So maybe to Neil's point about its all-time high, there was 233 right there. So boom to the upside, and man, did it go all the way up, which we have some outs. You can go over on Twitter and find out my trading from yesterday. But right into there, 235.40 or so, that key level. I won't be here because we're going to go to the gym, but that's going to be a good breaks possibility right there. So $1 in the money on NVIDIA, 50 cents in the money on Palantir. I'm not even worried about this, as we're still going to use that as our out. We have less than 5% left, and we discussed that down here. Remember when we were down here, and it was like, wow, we got all the way to the 200 period, excuse me, and we were hitting the bang and this and that and blah, blah, blah. This is where we cash out, man. You have to cash out when stocks go like this. So there it is, a parabolic move to the downside. Cash out. Like, I blinked and was like, huh, we're in the money? Like, anyways, that's it, that's that. And then there goes, Neil, the runner of hopefully all runners for me into the end of the day here. Palantir going right now, NVIDIA going, and just really putting a sort of a capper on the day. But the one thing is, while I'm gone, something's going to get delivered here, and it is
wings.
What's for lunch right now? So what's for lunch later? Yeah, we'll figure that all out. We'll order some wings and get them going there for Wingstop. Yeah, but Randy's not going to be here. So we'll just do it today. We'll get a couple of wings. We'll get them like around 1:30 or so. The boys can have them on air, and that will make sense because I'll come back and figure that out.
Wings, baby.
Yeah, sure. But today what's for lunch is roasted thyme and rosemary crusted chicken thighs. One of my favorite cuts of chicken. We had some, oh man, I got some flour, put in the oven last night, wings, and then put some Thai sauce on them. Oh man, those were really, 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 really nice right there. So my kids were like, we don't like meat with bones, but they actually ate pretty much all. Come on, they're really ridiculous. Now they eat meat with bones, I'll tell you that much. All right, steamed white rice on the side with a little broccoli and snap peas. So that was good. Oh, with roasted whole mushrooms I like shrooms. Those are pretty good. The mushrooms, they are good. So,
Freudian
all right,
slip.
there we go. Yeah, I've never actually done the other kind of shrooms, but here we go. Right now to the upside, Palantir really starting to go, man. And it is the face slapper. It is the jaw dropper right there. It is Palantir, baby. So if you're chilling out with me, you've got Palantir, NVIDIA, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Adara, how are you feeling?
We're doing okay over here. Thank you, Sean. We're going to actually do money talks, but really quickly, I want to keep an eye on crypto. We know we've been watching crypto basically all day. Donald Trump is apparently set to sign or rumored to sign an undisclosed executive order at 2:30 p.m. People really are waiting for this crypto executive order, so that's absolutely going to be on watch. Donald Trump himself speaking in about 10 minutes at Davos, the World Economic Forum. But also of note here on the crypto side, before we get to money talks, Senator Cynthia Lummis, as mentioned, she shared a post about big things coming using the B as in the Bitcoin symbol. And then that post has since been deleted. So she kept her post saying, stay tuned for 10 a.m., but the other part of that post has since been deleted. So interesting stuff there. Cynthia Lummis teasing a Bitcoin announcement and then revoking said tease. So with that in mind, we're going to take a look here at the US dollar. It has been an incredibly light week for economic data. We have not had any speakers yet. This week, we've not had any prints, but tomorrow we're going to get a little bit exciting here in terms of economic data. 9:45, we're going to get some S&P manufacturing PMI. Then at 10 a.m., we're going to be getting the final University of Michigan consumer sentiment print for the month of January, as well as some home sales data. So finally, getting some economic data on a pretty slow week on that front, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, very slow week. Data-wise, although this morning with the jobs number, we're earnings season anyways. Like, I think we're going to care more about earnings than we are about economic data for the next couple of quarters. But that's
Forever.
Yeah, that's just yeah.
The Fed doesn't mean
at least that's what I'm saying. At least the next couple of quarters. I think the Fed can always come back to meaning a little bit more. But at this point, let's worry about that. So quickly, we're going to take one more reload into Apple. I shouldn't say one more because it could, if it doesn't hold on to VWAP, then it's one more off of VWAP, and then we wait for lower. So we're going to take VWAP again here on Apple. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention what's going on, these nuclear names. I mentioned like these biggies, the like the big utility type names, but Oklo and SMR, wish SMR was up 12%, it's only up 6.5%. That's not bad either. Blasting to the upside. So I know a lot of people are in this one, or maybe you're in SMR, or maybe you're in one of like, there's a bunch of these small modular accurate nuclear names that are powering off. So this is a blue sky setup here on Oklo. There's not much to go over. I maybe look at levels for you, but all I can tell you is if you look at it from the technical prior high, that's 31.5 to the support level. That's like $8.50. Sometimes when you do that simple math off the breakout, if it's that range that it's going to put into the top side, that's like 39.5. So like another dollar is like that theoretical, this was the range from the prior high to the low. Then when it breaks out, that's how far it might go. 39.5. So Oklo, I mean, if I was in it, I'd be looking to grab some profit in front of that 39.5 just because it lines up very nicely on the chart. I'm going to go back over to AMD as the market's getting to a little bit of a crest. AMD just double wicked this top. So been patiently waiting for entries on this since it trended up. It does not break the prior high, and now you're getting another test underneath 123. So I will take another shot at advanced micro devices, this time with the stop at the high of the day. Just kind of being particular. As long as AMD is red and underneath this prior yesterday's support levels, I'm favoring the shorts there. If it breaks higher, I'd wait until at least you got to 124 quarter, 124 half.
All right, good look. Yeah, for NVIDIA, I mean, it's just funny because he was just on the AMD short. We're still that dollar and change in the money here on NVIDIA. We just got a bunch out there at 20s as we get lighter and lighter right now heading into lunchtime. Then we had a huge move up in Palantir as well, and we'll cash that out at the high, right? And so this is the thing. Like, no matter how much, yeah, cash me outside for sure. No matter how much we go up or down in this market, you have to respect the levels that have already been put in. So like, we're not trying to change the game. We're just trying to play within the rules. And the rules are, if you come back into the high of the day right there and you picking it up off VWAP, then you are out. Like, look, those that teach often can't do, but right now we're doing, and then when I can't, then I'll write a book and start teaching, okay? But for right now, like, these are the plays live right here that we're putting on for you every single day. Okay, so I mean, we're just going to continue to have some good feels here. AAL was a banger trade off the open. We don't have as many shares as we want. We got about a quarter position there. That sucks, but we'll take another piece out here at the low of the day again. And again, I don't need to write a book for this one. These are the lows. Right? I mean, again, if it breaks it, great. Maybe that's a new trade. But for right now, respect the levels that have already been put in. That's that trade. IBIT. Okay, so we absolutely flushed. You have to get some out when that happens. I am now, my stop right here is still the same thing from the whole time. That prior bar level. And when did we put that on? Right here. So right as this came back in, we had a huge move up. We called to the 5-minute chart. Shout out to Obi. He had told me, you know, one time, and we go back and forth. Remember, I mean, 2 years ago, I called him the Padawan and anointed him the next one. And obviously, he's the only one here still, so I think that's right. But right there, 60-30 right there to the downside. So that one, we used that prior bar high, not the wick, the prior bar high, which got us short there at 60.12 using 60.30. So 18 to 20 cents worth of a risk, and we got that. So that was a really huge move there for IBIT coming back in. So far, so good there. Randy, what's up? I didn't even realize you were there. That's just a quick little wrap on how trading's going
everybody
so far today. And it's been a decent one. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, we're doing wings. Yeah, I mean, someone else can order them. I'm not back. Actually, someone else should probably order them because I got to come back and then I got to record. So we'll play it, but wings are today.
Yeah, we'll pull up.
Wings are today. So yes, Randy.
Wings
and remember, we got to get the jalapeno something. You guys want the hottest ones possible.
No, we're getting different types of Dara. There's a bunch. Atomic lemon pepper.
Dara's like, don't you dare put honey garlic sauce on.
Everyone will just put what they want in the chat. I'll get the site up.
Okay.
Oh, is my internet not
too
working?
Spicy there.
There we go.
SMR, yeah, I just texted my friend there because like he and I have been no, you didn't say anything yet. We traded Rigetti together. He's the same guy that bought Rigetti at 70 cents and sold it at 6. Then we both bought it again at 6. I sold it at 9. He sold some at 9. I think he's still in. This guy's a maniac. But then I was like, as we were talking about it, he's like, give some other plays, and it was SMR right here. I was like, SMR is down at this level, so that's going to be a good one. Nice little move up there, another 10%. There, so I just did this to him on the chat. So hopefully we're able to get out of, or he's able to get out of some SMR if that's his risk tolerance. But a nice move up there for SMR. Look at $28, looking like a nice little level there. I may actually, I don't want to cash out of anything, but the SMR run it's almost like a triple here. So we have to think about what we want to do with SMR, long around $11 or so. So we'll wait. But I like SMR, needless to say, and it's working out.
Just a day trader cut quickly.
What's up, day trader?
You guys know we get there's a catered lunch here at the office every single day. So we don't actually, have company budget for lunch every day. We'd probably eat out every single day. No, it's just the reason we're doing wings today is because I think it was last week we had some viewers very kindly send some super chats on the Midday show asking for us to eat wings, right? So appreciate you those that send in the super chats. We've done it before, we've had people that send in super chats and want us to have, here's pizza and beer on us on a Friday, and, we just went ahead and did it, crack one. We don't really do it as much anymore, crack one in the afternoon show. But speaking of, and this is my segue to it, only 4 minutes to go here. I said maybe the last time off VWAP on Apple. It's looking like it. It doesn't mean the long is over for myself on Apple, but when we don't hold VWAP, we get out. And we wait for it to either pull into this 224 pre-market low or originally where we thought the trade would be yesterday's prior highs. So prior day highs in front of the 223. Still a couple of bounce spots that it could go off of. And then Amazon looking a little bit better than Apple all of a sudden. When we pull back and break VWAP, Amazon, which was a great long pretty much most of the day yesterday, and then late in the session, this is holding on at 234 pretty nicely. So the opening range top here at 234 is holding. Ideally, I'd like to see it break this top and put in a higher low and then work off of that level. So just a little bit of patience with Amazon. It's actually still red on the day, Amazon, and you got to be careful around these all-time highs as well. But we'll see. I've loaded up Wingstop. So we'll order them. I don't know. whatever.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean,
we'll figure it out.
happening.
It's going to happen. I think we're just going to make sure we order them. So like the midday guys.
It's for them.
Yeah, it's for the midday guys. I want to make sure
feel
they
blessed
get
that we're able to
they get some
participate.
wings.
No one really likes us. They just super chat these guys, which is fine. I mean, that's what we want. These guys answering all the questions. Look, join us on the midday show. And what I'm getting at is these guys, they spend a lot of time taking your questions, trying to educate you guys if you have any questions about, simple moving averages or some of the basics of trading. And then every single day they put together a lesson focusing on sometimes it's a technical indicator, psychology, or whatever they're doing. It's to try to better. So look, I mean, I hope you can see some of the trades that are happening here. These guys are very, very active traders as well. So that will be kicking for you on the midday. But again, more lesson based. And we want to thank everybody for all of the continued support and the super chat stuff. Fabian, you might have just saw him there in the background. But okay, so that's what we're doing every single day. I want to thank everybody for obviously the continued support. To everybody, Kyle's here, Chef Joe, everybody that continues to support the show and really watch us all grow here as traders, and hopefully you guys have as well. But all right, I don't have much else going on. I mean, NVIDIA is just kind of hovering right now at 146. We sort of talked about some of the levels there on NVDA and what we were looking at. Right there, we got some out, we got some more out. We're very, very light on everything as we get ready to call it sort of a day here and come back and trade for you guys again at 2 p.m. So far so good here, but a little bit of nothing in the last sort of half hour as the futures hang out near the day's high. I still like to move long here, and we're going to get some more out as that does happen. So Palantir back near a day's high. So that's going to be the next thing that I think about getting out here as the futures kind of hover.
Yeah, and with 30 seconds to go, I mean, obviously Amazon's trying to battle here. We were just mentioning Apple not necessarily done yet, but I think taking a temporary hiatus, if we can reclaim VWAP, there's nothing wrong with putting a rounded bottom in and just trying to get back in the same price area that we traded the last couple of times. Hoang was asking right in here, actually interesting. Any clues where you can find Trump's speech live? Shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think. Obviously, most of the major networks, I would think, would be carrying Trump, and we're expecting that we're going to get a little bit of action on crypto for sure. Thank you for the super chat right there, Matthias Lanes.
Yeah.
Don't feel sad. We just helped the midday bros with their protein intake. All that protein can't be cheap.
It's expensive, man. Eggs are expensive these days, too,
especially here in Canada. That I can tell you. I don't want to make the assumption.
I got 3 kids though, Mateus over there.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything, but we pay, like, prices here are a little bit ridiculous on a lot of stuff. It is what it is. Oh, Canada.
Yeah, you can't live in the best country and it be cheap, right? So,
yeah, I mean,
okay, guys, thank you.
Lunch,
yeah,
right?
again, thank you so much for coming in every single day, and we really appreciate it all. Thank you, Mateus, for that nice talk there. And of course, I mean, we love all of the shows, and let's just continue to support them all. All right, for me, that's it. For Neil,
we'll be back after we've eaten some wings too. So let's go over to the midday and a little Nito with Sharif and Joseph.
Ooh, okay.
What is up, beautiful people? I almost took out the monitor, bro.